Good evening. Today is Thursday, June the 17th, 2025. This is a work session of the School Board of School Board Trustees of School City of East Chicago, and the time is now 6:15. The place is Administration Building, 1401 East 144th Street, East Chicago, Indiana, 46312. This is also being shown via live stream, www.scec.k12i.in.us. This is the meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school's corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Present.
Trustee Taylor.
Present.
Madam President Gibson King.
Present. And now we'll go to our agenda for the contract renewals.
Good evening, School Board. For the contract renewals, we had a number of our staff who are prepared to just come up and give very brief information and answer any questions regarding the contracts that are up for renewal. The board was sent a separate packet of all the contracts that were up for renewal. This group all fall under, for the most part, our parent cafe. So for some of our presenters, some of them are teachers who are off for the summer, we would like to ask any of those folks to go first. So we may be going slightly out of order from your original agenda. So if we can have Ms. Vasquez come first. First contract up for renewal will be Girls on the Run.
Yeah, but this is written on you. This is this one.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Vasquez. I am a teacher at Washington Elementary. I also was one of the coaches who took on the Girls on the Run position that was in our elementary schools for this spring season. So just a little background about Girls on the Run. It is a nonprofit organization. They provided our girls with tennis shoes, any sports bras that were needed. They received T-shirts, plenty different materials, everything. Girls were taught about self-empowerment, embracing their differences, friendship, teamwork, and just different responsible decision-making. Again, this was completely free to all of our students. It didn't cost them anything, and it was just overall just a great program, a great experience for us. Coaches were required to complete online and in-person training, which totaled up to about 8 hours in total of training that we had before we even began the season. And this was for all of our coaches at all of the elementary schools. I was just one who represented at Washington. Girls were required to practice 2 times a week. And then we had a lesson for each practice day. So all schools across the board were on the same thing for each lesson. And then the Girls on the Run Foundation itself actually provided all the materials that we needed. So we didn't have to, they even had Kleenex, tape, everything that we possibly, markers that we possibly would need for any of the activities. They provided all of that to us. And then at the end, they had a 5K race, which was held on a Saturday, and it was also another great activity, great thing for the girls to participate in. Each team had about 10 to 12 girls at all 4 elementary schools. If you can see there in the pictures, you can see the girls doing one of the activities. One of us, we were able to get outside when the weather was a little bit nicer, and then also doing an activity in our gym. Whoops, wrong way, I'm sorry. Here you'll see a tent that we had set up. We did have it set up for all the elementary schools to be able to come together. And Dr. Yanders, I also was in connection with her. And we were able to get like snacks and drinks for the girls to have that day. And then also we had parents who even contributed different items and stuff for them to be able to have. We had a tent set up. I believe that picture that's there is from Lincoln's team. And then here you just kind of see more pictures of the girls that we had. They had a great time. The ones in the blue shirts are the coaches and the girls who participated. That coral color are the volunteers who came. So families were able to come in, siblings, cousins, friends, whoever was able to also come and participate with us. And ours took place in Highland. So I don't know if you can kind of see in that picture there. They had even like their firefighters out there. It was really, really nice. They had all their streets blocked off. It was a really nice event, and just a program that I hope that we can continue in the fall and the spring of this upcoming school year. That's all.
Did we ask questions? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh. I just wanted to let you know that I'm very familiar with Girls on the Run, and your MOU. You've been with us for I've been on the board for 6 years, so I'm very familiar with your activities. Thank you.
Hi, Vanessa. We just want to thank you. So are you planning on having them to stay with us for next year or what?
Well, I'm just the coach. I don't really have control over that. So I am in connection with the one who is over our Girls on the Run program for our area. And she is totally like on board with coming back in, giving us whatever we need, connecting with us. It's just once it's board approved, then we'll be ready to go. We have our coaches in place and everything in place.
Who is that person?
Her name is Laura. I'm going to say her last name wrong. It's like Durante or something like that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, hi. Any more questions from the board?
Madam President,
Mrs. Vanessa? Yes, trustee Gomez.
it's not a question, it's a comment. I participated in this before. It's a really good program. So are they having it twice then?
Yeah, so I actually wasn't aware that there's a fall season. We kind of just picked up in the spring. However, there is a fall and a spring, which is why we kind of wanted to jump on it now with, fall when we start school come August. And so, yeah, we'll have both, be able to have it in the fall and the spring.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez, and enjoy the rest of your birthday.
Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. We are missing two of our other staff members who are going to go over the other contract renewals. Oh, never mind. Ms. Daniels is here. We're going to give her a few seconds, and we are up. So, Ms. Daniels, we've asked, since she works closely with a number of our partners for Parent Cafe, to go over the highlights for programs numbers 2 through 10. And Ms. Daniels, if you can, just speak to those programs: Fairhaven, Geminis, Top 20, HealthLink, Purdue Extension, Wiser Source, Northwest Food Council, Healthy Hearts, Healthy Minds, and Mental Health America.
Okay, good evening. I'm Rita Daniels, school social worker at Central High School, where I'm part of a team that includes Mr. Kerry Williams and Mr. Andre Clay. I am also the coordinator and facilitator of the Parent Cafe, which is located in Kerry Gosh Early Learning Center under the leadership of Principal Rancifer. I'll give you a little background on the Parent Cafe. The Parent Cafe began in the 2017-2018 school year. The whole premise of the Parent Cafe was to provide a cafe of resources. We were following the guidelines of On My Way Pre-K and the Indiana Department of Education to provide community engagement and parent engagement. It began as a resource for the pre-K students and their families and the staff. But when COVID hit us, it was major. So we opened up the Parent Cafe to the entire district. So within the Parent Cafe, we have multiple partners. These partners are partners who provide community resources to the county at large. When we started the Parent Cafe, we contacted partners throughout Lake County and told them what our plan was. We sat down and developed the plan to create the Parent Cafe. The actual name of the Parent Cafe came from parents. They actually gave us a list of names, and that was the one that was voted on because it's a cafe of resources. So within that, we have partners who have been our partners for 8 years and some who are just recently coming on. So I'll start with Fairhaven. Fairhaven basically is an organization that keeps us in compliance with Aaron's Law, which includes child abuse and exploitation prevention programs for grades K through 12. They provide the programs in our schools to keep us updated on changes in laws and also to help prevent the heinous act of child abuse. Geminis Corporation, we are in partnership with Community Partners. Community Partners was developed as a resource to the community at large because they were providing these services to youth that were a part of probation and DCS, and students and youth that were not involved in those particular programs didn't have access to this program. So they developed Community Partners specifically for youth that are not involved in probation and DCS. They provide mental health, home-based and in the schools. They also connect you to their partnerships, which they have over 50+ partners. With our partnership with them, they can also open up those resources to the school city of East Chicago. So whatever the need is for our youth and their families and even our staff, we can use any of their partners to provide those services for them. Top 20 Dance. Top 20 Dance program has been in this district a long time, but they also opened their doors to our pre-K when we started our pre-K, and they taught them ballet, tap, and jazz. So they went from pre-K to 12th grade, but they also have an adult program where they provide any meals for our McKinney-Vento students and their families, and they also partner with Pastor Kelly Williams to provide those services. We've had youth that have been homeless in our district, and throughout the summer when the schools are closed, they continue to work and deliver food to their homes. We have HealthLink, which is our health provider. They also help our staff as well. If we have any staff members who do not have benefits through our schools, they help them get medical insurance. We have a lot of students who are English language learners who also did not have medical insurance. They also provided for them as well and provide Spanish-speaking staff to assist them with getting their medical insurance. HealthLink also partners with legal aid. So we have some families that were needing help with getting green cards, getting help with all of the problems that they were having because of ICE. So they have legal aid to assist them with those issues, and any other partners that they have, they provide to our school system as well. Now, Purdue Extension is a major partner. They help us with providing like gardens for our schools, farm to home or farm to school. So when you had the lunch program present, they are the partners that helped us get the farms connected to our schools. This program is nationwide. Right now, they have a few hiccups that they have to get through because of funding cuts, but they're working on getting that funding back so that we won't lose that program. So these farmers are local farmers. They have farms near here in Lake County. They also have some in Marshall County, Porter County, and this is a program that is given to schools across America. We have Wiser Source, who is coming on as a new partner. So in our high school, We have English language learners that have not been able to get their mental health resources because there were no Spanish-speaking therapists that were able to help them. So Wiser Source is coming on to provide that service to our English language learners. They will provide this resource in our schools and also by Zoom. So sometimes they are in groups, they could do groups by Zoom, or they'll come over to the school. They also can provide it in their home and in their office in the community. We also have Northwest Indiana Food Council that partners with Purdue Extension. This is also a nationwide program that has funding for food bank partnerships, and they have 2 gardens in our school system at McKinley and Harrison. They also helped us with the Northwest Indiana Farm to School, and they also do every year the Apple Crunch. They are the ones that help us with that. Healthy Hearts and Healthy Minds. I'm sure everyone is familiar with Dr. Grady. Dr. Grady provides mental health services to our special ed department, but he expanded this year by helping us with our student athletes. We were addressing all the needs of our student athletes, mental health, substance abuse, any of the things that they were having issues with. He came aboard. He works close with the social work department. The idea was, what happens when the social work department partners with the athletic department, and how do we address these needs of our student athletes? We utilized the basketball team as our pilot. So for 3 years, we've been working with Central High School's basketball team. Everybody sees them as a group, but they are individuals. So we got to know these players, our student athletes, individually, and we met their individual needs, whatever they were. He will continue with this school year, and we're adding the football team, I mean. And I've also talked with Diana Darden to ask the alumni to come in and help us, because we want to provide mentors to all of our athletes so they can have individual mentors. Then we have Mental Health America. They have a program called Ready to Soar. Ready to Soar works closely with our pre-K program to help with the developmental needs of our pre-K as they transition into kindergarten. They do the testing to make sure they're up to standard so that they will be able to successfully transition into kindergarten. Whatever the testing that the state requires, they do it in-house for all of our pre-K students. This year, we're adding the Divine Nine. So I happen to be a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I've been a member for a very long time. So we're adding Delta Sigma Theta, Kappa Alpha Psi, and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority coming in to mentor our youth, grades 7 through 12. There's a plethora of things in our youth programs that will help our youth. So we're looking at how in the MTSS model, we have tiers 1, 2, and 3. Tier 1 is to all our students, Tier 2 is for some, and Tier 3 is for few. So we're plugging in mentoring everywhere that we can. So we're adding more resources so that we can reach more youth in our school corporation. Alpha Kappa Alpha and Delta Sigma Theta and Kappa Alpha Psi are eager to begin, so they're hoping that they will be able to begin at the beginning of the school year. We already have students who are very interested in becoming a part. It also opens the door for our students to get academic scholarships, because all of Divine Nine, although we don't have them all, as partners, they all offer scholarships to our students. In addition to that, we have 3 other partners whose MOUs are not on the list, but they are forthcoming. We have the TRIO program through Purdue, Indiana Parenting Institute, and PRB. PRB is the group that helps with our truancy students, students that are having problems with attendance and are going to court because of that. They help to prevent that and provide services so that the parents can basically get their kids to school. In addition to that, we have community partners that are not listed, and I want to name them because they are incredible. We have the East Chicago Fire Department, the East Chicago Police Department, Catholic Charities, who gives us food every Friday at Central High School for our McKinney-Vento students. We have a food locker. They fund all of the food with no expenses to our school district. We have the East Chicago Library, the wonderful East Chicago Alumni Association, and United Way. In addition to that, we have Greater Destiny and Greater First Baptist churches that have food banks that we also send our parents, our students, and sometimes our staff. So we're looking to continue these partnerships for the 2025, 2026 school year, and hoping that you will agree with bringing these partnerships back. I admire this whole entire group of partners because when they started out, they had to have conversations with their management team in order to offer these services. They have no charge to us for any of these services. We also have contact people for each one of these services. So if we have a need at the School City of Chicago, we contact that one or two contact people for each one of these organizations, and they begin to provide the services to our students, our families, and our staff. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer those.
I have a quick question.
Okay,
Are you the point person for all of these groups?
I am. I meet with them every second Wednesday at 9 a.m. at Kerry Gosh.
Wow.
All the groups here,
Pardon me?
every second Wednesday?
Yeah, she is.
You say every second Wednesday?
Every second Wednesday.
Ms. Daniels, I've been knowing you for a while, and I must say, you are truly a blessing to so many children in this community, other than the ones that know you personally. But your professionalism, your care for these kids, you have not missed one beat. And I know sometimes you are stressed to no end. And I know how you are when you're trying to get these students. I know how you try to get these students in college when they don't have the entrance exam money. I know you've come out of your own pocket to do a lot of things. And I just want to tell you, thank you. If nobody else in this district, thank you. There's so many people that come together to make this district work, and you all have no idea. But I know your work. I've worked with you. I've fallen short because I'm getting older, but you still keep pushing. But I'm just saying this. I am so happy that you are staying in our district because you are such a blessing. And when you all came up with the Parent Cafe, and when I saw this list, I'm like, okay, I gotta listen to all these people. But I forgot that you was a part, you were all these people, you are all these people. So I just wanna tell you, thank you, and I pray for God to continue to bless you in everything that you do. You know how I get about those kids, and I just feel like when they don't have anywhere else to go, they can come to you. I know there have been many days when you couldn't go home to 8 or 9 o'clock at night until you made sure each and every one of those McKinney-Veno kids were at home. We've worked together shortly, but I know your work. And I am just happy that you work with these partners, because I thought I was going to have to hear all of this, but when you got up and started, I'm like, okay, this is one speech we don't have to stay on. But I'm just saying, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
And I just want to say, Mrs. Daniels, I know that you do a lot. I know there's a lot of times that we do approve stuff that we do not know if this work has been done or not. We are in the blind when it comes down to situations like that, and it always comes across our desks. We don't know if this work has been done. But one thing that, like Mrs. Smith said, we do know those ones that are in our district that do go a step and beyond, okay? And what I'm learning right now, I didn't know that you were over all these programs. I knew that they did exist, but I didn't know that you took care of them. And I know that there is a lot that you do, and you continue on, because there have been a lot of people that have left our district as well, and they're continuing to leave, okay? But we want to make sure that, that we give you and those ones that do the work, the support that they need for our children. It's about children first. And thank you.
I was saying earlier, that's impressive that you're the point person to all these partners, because I understand the load and the weight it is to carry when you are mentoring and when you are that resource and that go-to person, not just for the partners, but for the kids. I understand that sometimes you probably beat yourself up because you can't meet every single need.
And she does.
So I just want to encourage you, make sure you take time out for Rita. You reset, recharge, reset Rita so that Rita could be effective. Because again, this is not a job for you, this is a calling. So the best way to get effective is you have to take time out for Rita, because I understand that weight. And you can't run on fumes, you can't run on empty. So make sure that, I know you seek to him,
Absolutely.
hang on by the hem of his garment, but seek Rita, make sure that Rita gets recharged, okay? Because we need you. Thank you.
Bless you and rest assured, I take care of Rita. Bishop Grant is my point person.
I know.
and I get on a plane and leave town every school year at the end of the school year and come back in August to get ready. So I'll be leaving in a couple of weeks and I'll be
Good for
back
you.
the first week in August.
That makes me happy to hear that.
Any additional questions? Anybody else?
Enjoy your summer.
Thank you.
Because you truly need it, because, you know, with all this going on, 5/26, we're gonna need not only just you, we're gonna need a whole bunch of you. So, you enjoy your vacation, and I promise you, I will not bother you, and I won't let anybody else bother you. So have a great vacation, and thank you for putting all this together.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thank you again, Ms. Daniels. Next, we have a number of special ed contract renewals. We're going to ask Ms. Patricia Koulianos to come and present high-level overview of those items. They include the IEP Writer, Trade Winds, Asset Works, Infinity Counseling, Readable English, Everway Unique Learning System. Ms. Koulianos.
Good evening. Before I start, I want to also say thank you to Rita, because on top of everything that she does spearheading all of those groups, she sits in on the majority of our IEP meetings at Central High School. So she is addressing our special education department, her and her team, and our students have been able to help partner with some of the foundation money that we've received through the K. Logan Foundation. We were able to help purchase a refrigerator for their food that they receive from Catholic Charities, and we've gotten our students involved in assisting hauling everything in. I'm here today, Mrs. Pohl is at a conference, and she apologizes for not being here, but she is continuing to secure additional funding, even though she's retiring, from the K. Logan Foundation. They have been a true blessing to Central High School. We've been able to do a lot for kids, and that is where she is. I'm going to do my best to talk about the contracts and address any questions you have. If I'm not able to answer them, she said she will answer them upon her return. So the IEP writer, the reason we have an IEP writer, we've had this in the past, this is not anything new. We have an IEP writer to help at our elementary level and for our new teachers, which allows the teachers more time as they're learning the ropes, and we know how difficult that is coming into a new system. That allows the teacher to spend ample time in their classroom with their students, while we were paying a retired teacher to assist in IEP writing, which until the teacher becomes comfortable with their caseload and with the process. That is what she does for teachers at the elementary level and our new teachers within the district for special education. We've had it for the last few years. It is not a new contract. The Trade Winds contract, we have a few students that we need to have a sign language interpreter for, and we go through Trade Winds to obtain that service through them, and they've helped us out before. That is also not a new contract, it is a renewal. Asset Works is what was previously known as Go Solutions, And we've had this for over 30 years, and this is how we do all of our Medicaid billing, which helps the school district get reimbursed for related services, occupational therapy, speech therapy, things of those nature that we are allowed to bill Medicaid for. Infinity Counseling, there is absolutely no charge to our services with Infinity Counseling. The only way there would be a cost is if we needed an alternative placement for a student to get services. I believe we've had 1 or 2 students within the past few years. Knock on wood, it's a good thing that we've not needed their services, but I'm not saying that there's not a time that we will need to call on them with the world changing as it is. Our students come to school in crisis, as Rita knows very well. And sometimes while we're a public school entity, we just do not have the resources to help some of our students in true crisis. And we run into new things every day, and it's nothing that we jump into. We try to use our own resources first at home in East Chicago. But Infinity Counseling is a resource with Dr. Parker that we do have that relationship we can reach out to if we have a student in crisis and we need an alternative placement to provide educational services. They do a half-day counseling program, half-day educational program. Readable English. Readable English is also a renewal. It is completely funded through the Special Education Fund. It's our 3rd year. We've seen great improvement and huge growth on the iRead test. It's used in the buildings as a reading intervention. We are also adding a section at the high school for non-readers or low-level readers. So we will obtain licenses for like 1 section at Central. Readable English, they meet monthly with the teachers that have been trained and the coaches to see how everything is going, get a report. They're very good about adjusting or giving suggestions if progress is not being made. So those monthly meetings with the teachers have also been very helpful. They also give our teachers strategies for students that they're having more challenges with reaching. And they are there and they help when they are able to. They have a PLC with the special ed director 1 time per month. They share data with the building and the coaches, and they share strategies for working with our kids. We share our data as far as iRead goes and where we're falling short. And that program has been instrumental in helping some of our students in special education who have struggled learning to read. Everway Unique Learning, it's not new, but it's what was N2Y in the past. N2Y curriculum for our applied skills classes. It's now called Everway Unique Learning System. So again, it's not new, it's just previously known as N2Y. It is a renewal. It's for our applied skills classes at all levels, elementary, junior high, and secondary. There is a transition component, which is my area, that helps develop jobs for our students. So we start talking about that early on, and we rely on that curriculum to bring students in our applied skills classes to the point where we are able to get them working. We train them, we teach them skills, we teach them new skills. If they don't like what we're doing, if they don't like what they're doing, we teach them a new skill, just as if we don't care for our job, we can get up and leave. We teach the students those skills too, so they don't ever feel like they're blocked in. And that, again, that's Everway, that's N2Y curriculum. And I think that's it. Infinity Asset Works was Go Solutions, Infinity Counseling, Readable English, Tradewinds, and the IEP Writer. Does anyone have any questions that I could possibly answer?
Yes, I want to ask a question.
Sure.
Now, I know that, where are you housed at in our
I'm
schools?
housed at Central High School in the Cardinal Works Center.
Okay, and you don't have a class that you teach?
No, I don't. I
You don't have
work
any
with the,
students?
I work with the students that come out, and through special ed, it's a transition IEP. And I work with them, obtaining jobs and going to their jobs and part of the training, and we create in-house businesses within the district.
Okay, and I see sometimes you go do homebound. Do you go, because I know that when we get your information, it never tells us, you just say homebound, it never tells us where you're doing the services at.
So the students that I provide homebound for are some of our most severe students that they have difficulty obtaining somebody to go and see.
Right, but that should be at their homes, right?
And it is. The students I see, I go into their homes, and the one student lives at the Carmelite home and has been a resident there for almost 6 years.
Yeah, okay. Right,
Should we be getting reports about that?
good, but,
Data. Damn,
so, out of the services that you just listed, which one of these, out of these, you're not involved in all of these, are you?
Well, kind of, yes. I am.
Have time for all these services?
Well, I take a piece with, because I sit in with the special ed administrative team on Mondays, and we're actually all involved with these, and readable English has not started yet at the high school, and I work primarily with the junior high and high school students, so that is going to be something new that I'll be participating in this year. But I have participated with Infinity Counseling, Dr. Parker, with Medicaid billing for our students, so they get their services. Tradewinds, the sign language interpreter, that right now is being utilized at the elementary school, but the IEP writer, yes. And it's going to be a big undertaking this year because the entire state has adopted a new IEP system. So everybody is leaving Indiana IEP, and we are going with Power Schools IEP.
Or power schools?
Power School, yes. So we will be organizing a training because we will need to train all of our teachers. And I was instrumental too in making sure that while we had thumb drives, that we had everything. Everybody was so fearful because this rollout was really quick, much quicker than Indiana IEP was. We were very concerned that we were going to possibly lose documents just in the process, just maybe even system overload, nothing necessarily on our part. I had teachers make hard copies of everything. I have flash drives, thumb drives. If it's part of Indiana IEP, we have it moving forward, because I am not fully convinced that Power Schools IEP will be ready when we start school on day one.
Well, so it's supposed to be ready, what, this school year? Are there any more questions?
I'm sorry, Ms. Culianos, we did miss one. Could you also speak to the renewal contract for the occupational therapist?
Yes, this is for Miss Kina Hoyle. She's also a renewal. She has been with us for over 12 years, and this is paid for through the education fund.
So what department was that you said?
This is occupational therapist, Kina Hoyle. She's
Oh,
been with us
okay.
for 12 years.
Okay, the occupational, who was this? What's her name?
Kina Hoyle,
Oh, Hoyle, okay.
The only question I have for you is, I know there's a lot that goes on to keep these programs going, but it would be so nice to let us know quarterly, maybe, the progress, the data,
Oh,
Give us
absolutely.
a summary of what level you are on to keep us abreast in order to keep these contracts, because we never get any feedback. So we don't know what's working and what's not working. And I would appreciate, if that department would give a board summary, write it out, and pass it out to the board, but just let us know what's going on so we'll all know what you're doing and how the students are progressing.
sure, absolutely. I know with like occupational therapists, speech therapists, It's not just an East Chicago issue, it's across the state. It's actually a national issue where there's a shortage of therapists and specialists. And what is the trend now is that the therapists, licensed speech pathologists are coming together and working within a company. They make more money that way. So it's forcing districts, not only us, but within the area and the state, to have to partner in a different way. Not unlike the old ways where we would bring somebody on board to join our team. Things are just a little different and they're harder to obtain. So we have to use resources like Tradewinds to get a sign language interpreter. We have to use companies to find a full-time occupational therapist. Our special education department makes up a fourth of this school district. So we're talking about a significant number of students who, rely on these services. And, summer seems to get shorter and shorter where it kind of shortens our time to find people. So if we find somebody and they're good, we rely and hope that you will look at their contract and consider renewing it.
It's just like being transparent, that's all.
Sure.
Just a small summary of what once you all get together, after you do your IEPs, how many IEPs, something short and to the point to let us know exactly where we are with our special needs.
Well, I know that I can share this with you because I'm directly involved. At the high school, while the school district saw declining enrollment, Central High School Special Education Department did not. We ended up, I think, finishing the year with 234 IEPs at Central High School. In the past, we've always hovered around 220, and it was constant, it never stopped. We had students continually coming in throughout the school year. It used to be, because I wrote all the move-in IEPs, it used to be that we were very heavy, obviously, in August when school started, and then again in January, usually when the semester, that was when we would saw the influx of students. That's no longer the case. It's just, it never stops. There's constant movement. I think some of that too comes from all of the needs of the kiddos in this area. Things don't work out in one district, so parents want to do what they can to help. They move, they try a new school district. And I just think it's what's happening in the world today. And we also, our special education department has a really good reputation, which I'm very proud of. I think it's what has kept me here for 30 years. I've been here a long time. But people come our way, they like what they hear, they like the services we provide, they like that we're all about kids, and that we have all of these resources and services to offer our students. People think that we're a little school district just up in the, corner of Northwest Indiana, but we offer a lot.
I know we do.
We have a lot for our students. In fact, I'm always hearing, and like I said, I've been here for 30 years, and I'm always hearing about a new program. I'm like, I didn't know we had that. I didn't know we had that. So I know that everybody, Ms. Daniels is very busy and very active with her organizations, and I know special education, we're very active with ours. And that's just the two of us. And I know there's just so much more out there for our kids, and I think that's why special ed has kept the numbers coming in at the high school, and also too because Gary does not have, East Chicago does not have a charter high school. So we see a lot of the students leaving the junior high school that were in the charter schools coming over to Central High School because they want to stay in the community. They want to stay in East Chicago.
Got one question. The majority of the students that do come to Central High School, now, are they the LDs? What students are you speaking of? LDs, MOs, severes,
I'm
or moderate?
speaking of, well, we have
See,
a
this
lot
is-
of, we have a lot of LD students
Right,
coming, but
right.
we have seen a high influx of the moderate and severe students coming from out of state. So I'm not sure if people hear about what we do. I'm not sure if it's, maybe a split family and they go and live with the other parent, for services. our classes, our applied skills classes for moderate and severe at the high school, we must have 42, maybe 42 to 45 students. And I see them every day as they're coming off the bus and we go down to breakfast. So to see everybody together, that's where you can really see how much those classrooms have grown.
Yeah, no, well, I know that when you speak or Mrs. Pohl speak, you just say the special needs students. You never break them down in categories, because I know that, I think your largest category of students that is at Central are LDs.
Yes.
Okay, that's
So
what I thought.
of that
37, that's
237
right.
students,
Right, they're
I'd say
mostly-
42 are the moderate and severe, our applied skills group, and the rest make up the mild cognitive, specific learning disability, and emotional disabilities.
Okay, all right.
So what's LD? What does that stand for?
Thank you. I mean, that's all my questions.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Koulianis.
Thank you so much. Again, if there's anything you think of, Mrs. Pohl will address it when she comes back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What, in response to Trustee Smith's comment, we will direct our Director of SPED, or Future Director of Exceptional Learners, to include in their monthly executive summaries any type of quarterly progress, as the board has requested. Thank you. I do want to also thank again our staff who are off for the summer for coming in to present during this work session. And now we are ready to go back to, we've concluded our renewal contracts. Now we're ready to go into some newer programs, and some of those are already on the board agenda. So now we're going to have Ms. Christina Gutierrez come and talk about Acadience.
Good evening. The elementary department is seeking for approval of Acadience, as formerly known as Dibbles. So some of you may be familiar with that terminology. Previously, the state of Indiana put out an Indiana code requiring schools to use and administer a universal screener, and so they are recommending Acadience. So it fits right with our program. We're looking for 2 years of an agreement with them. This will be an assessment used for phonemic awareness, phonics, oral reading fluency, and nonsense words. So it'll be in combination with progress monitoring our students' reading abilities, as well as fulfilling the state's requirements for a dyslexia screener. We currently use NWA MAP Fluency. We do the same progress, but with this recommendation, the state is willing to pick up the funds for it and utilize our formative assessment grant for it.
Oh, so, I don't know. So you said this is something new, Dibbles?
Dibbles has been around forever, but Acadian, it's coming back to the district
Coming back.
under the guidance of this Indiana code.
Is this going to require any training for the teachers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've met already. Ms. Jessica Peters is in charge, our dyslexia coordinator, so we've already met with the Acadian partners, and they've talked to us about providing a 3-hour training for them on our August 7th teacher PD. The good thing is that because this is a very familiar program, a lot of our veteran teachers are very familiar with Dibbles.
Ms. Gutierrez, what grade levels will this be impacting?
This will be impacting, required for K-2 dyslexia, but we're going to have it licenses available for third graders who are kind of in that tier 2 that Ms. Rita Daniels referred to.
And I'm assuming it's suited to accommodate like diverse diverse learning needs, such as bilingual English learners. Things of
Absolutely.
that nature, okay. In your opinion, is there anything about this program that's much more effective than the current one we have?
Absolutely. Our current one is a computer-based program, so that leaves a lot of validity questioning about having the computer assess the students. So now our teachers are going to sit with our students one-on-one
Oh.
and get a more intimate capture of what the students can and cannot do.
Oh, that's good. Okay, thank you.
I will also point out and add to trustee Taylor's question, because it is a teacher or an adult giving the test, that is why the training is really essential.
Okay.
Trustee Gomez?
Yeah, Madam President, thank you. It says here that to best support schools and students in greatest need, schools in which fewer than 70% of students achieve a valid passing score on iRead. It goes on. Is this all of our schools, elementaries?
Well, we don't know because the scores are embargoed currently, so we don't have this year's. But with the memo that I provided with you with the DOE, it's directing most of our schools that are identified as cadre to utilize it, and we currently have 3 schools that are still in the reading cadre, so we're just being compliant with our fulfillment of that contract with them.
You should have those unembargoed when?
Oh, probably late July, first week in August. We are doing our final opportunity next week with the elementary students.
Traditionally, it's been all 4 schools.
Correct.
The only problem, there's no problem with this, but you know I'm very picky about dates, okay? So now, this particular order was created for 28-25. Expiration date 6/30/2025. So, why are we just getting this?
Getting the quote for it?
Yes.
Well, once we had to vet all the other programs, it was a process. What we did was, the state gave us guidelines of what we had to do. We went to all 3 of them, got quotes from all of them, met with all of them, and then made the decision to go with this one. So it's a process of scheduling all the meetings and meeting with them.
Okay, so you had to, yeah, I see where you went with the state recommendation. Okay, I was just wondering, you know how I am about time.
Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
So you got a question, Taylor? No. Who's going to oversee this program? Who's going to be involved in it?
Ms. Jessica Peters, our dyslexia coordinator.
She's a teacher.
She's a dyslexia district coordinator.
Yeah, actually, but is she a teacher?
No, she coordinates the dyslexia screening for all the students and the training for all the teachers.
Okay, because I know Mrs. Peters, she has been so many things. Okay, so that's why I asked you, I'm saying it like that, because she was a principal at one time, then she was at the pre-K, and now she's over this.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I'm asking the question like I'm asking it. So
Okay.
Mrs. Peters is going to oversee this.
And there's 2 folds to it. So yes, she will be in charge of the dyslexia screening. This is also going to be a progress monitoring for our students throughout the year. So then it will then trickle down to principals and instructional coaches and teachers, then taking over the progress monitoring of it. Similar to what they did this year with NWA.
So, well, then I'm going to ask that we hear from Mrs. Peters when she gets started, or when she gets halfway in what she's going to be doing
For her to present this again or for a report from her?
for a report.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we'd like to hear that from Mrs. Peters,
Yes.
okay?
If there are no other questions regarding Acadience, the board requested to have a career coaching presentation. So we've asked Ms. Gutierrez and Ms. Navarro to come forward to do the career coaching presentation.
Okay.
And I'll hold off because I think there was a packet that you could follow along with, so you can find it. Is there a packet? Oh, she's going to pass them out now.
Oh, Michelle.
She didn't want you to have to fumble through your thing, so she'll hand it to you.
Thank you. She's going to pass it. Okay.
She is a nurse.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, thank you. This is the second time we've got this here.
All right, good evening again. This is the Career Coaching Grant for 24-25. Please understand, this grant was not written by School City v. Chicago and is for 2 years. So the creation of the grant, the stipulation of the grant are not created by School City v. Chicago. I do want to point out that throughout this time, we had 3 career grants. We had myself dealing with the elementary focus. We had Marin Lee dealing with the high school, and Michelle Navarro, because we knew this was going to entail several technology programs. We had Ms. Navarro come on to support the middle school. I took a snippet from when this was presented to the school city. This was presented in May of 2024 under our previous or our other interim superintendent. It was given to him to be done with NYSEC since I was familiar with doing some of the grants here at School City, and I was, besides Ms. Pohl, the most veteran staff here in the district. It was presented to me to fulfill. After attending the Service Center's program on the requirements and fulfillment, that's when I invited my other 2 colleagues to join because I knew it was going to be a heavy lift of creating a plan for career coaching for School City. They gave us the mini grant information at the first meeting, and it just basically said you had $5,000 for your student and your staff experiences, and then you had $10,000 to support for the district coach or coaches. That's why I opted to bring in 2 other people to create the district plan. They spelled out for us what the district coach's responsibilities were going to be. We were going to serve as the district point of contact for the grant activities, work closely with the career coach, who was Shannon Harmon of NYSEC, work under the employability skills, utilize EES, attend and participate in the monthly meetings, develop local partnerships with the Chamber of Commerce, develop a system, and then attend the kickoff meeting that was last July that we did attend. So they defined the coaches' roles. This is a list of the 22 districts. The NYSEC is a consortium that works with all of our districts, understanding the new guidelines for career coaching. They understood that a lot of districts were going to be struggling with being compliant with it. So they wanted to work with representatives from districts to come together and help create plans. They gave us a timeline of the funds to be used. So you can see that we did have some accountability pieces with NYSEC. We did reports to them and send out assignments to them. And we also have Ms. Crystal Wheeler, who is our account grants manager here at the district that works with them as well. Who are the representatives? The partners that we met with, besides myself, Ms. Navarro, and Ms. Lee, the other people were work-based learner coordinators in their districts. They were career coaches in their districts. They were dean of students there, principals, CTE directors, robotics leads. It was the district's responsibility to have representatives at this. So you can see the various roles of who were there. We even had a superintendent that was on the team with a Title I coordinator and a grant specialist. Here's a list of the meetings that we attended year-long. You notice that there is one far off and one closer to us, so the 3 of us would attend each of these monthly meetings with the idea of completing the school year, our implementation planning year, and having an implementation plan done by going through all of these meetings. Every meeting left with a task for all 3 of us to complete. They labeled it as homework. So as we completed the task and attended the meeting, we had homework that we had to follow up on and turn in to, once again, Shannon Harmon, who is the lead with the NYSEC. As the year went on, we made sure we were going through the 3 competencies, explore, engage, And so we had different activities planned out through elementary, and we presented those to the elementary teachers. We have also updated our curriculum maps. Somebody mentioned EES app and the employability skills. That app was used to utilize and update our maps. So you can see right here is an example of a teacher's map when she opens it up. Besides a unit study, it also gives her a focus of an employability skill for our kids to work on all the way to kindergarten. So I think the heavy lift is now introducing that it's no longer a high school conversation about careers. It is now a K-12 conversation about careers and how are we going to make a plan for all of our teachers to become teacher career coaches. I think I shared this. If some of you came to the high ability meeting, this is another concept that's been introduced to the elementaries. We're trying to make sense of what we're doing already. So every unit in our math introduces our students to another profession. And so this is an example of aerospace engineer. And so we'll introduce a different career with every unit of study for the students. We did pilot Career Week. We understand that we did it to get some activities checked off for this school year with the elementary. But we also met with the elementary in a district PLC and explained to all the elementary teachers their new role. I partner with Ms. McGuire, who is very familiar with the grad requirements, to see the projection of what we are doing and how it's building towards the grad requirements. So we did host an elementary district PLC so that all the elementary teachers understood why this was now becoming a part of their conversation.
So the middle school and the high school already had things set forth for college and career readiness because this is part of what the counselors had to do, part of what the PCC teacher, which is the prep college building, I always mess up the acronym for that one, I apologize. But it's the college prep course, college and career prep course. And so what we did was, we didn't want to take away from what people have already been doing. I met with the middle school, and I'm going to talk both about the high school and the middle school at the same time, and I'll show you the next slide for the high school. But what we did was I met with the counselors and the school principal and vice principal, and I asked what they have already done to meet the needs of the students in the past and what kind of assistance do they need. So under the 3 categories of explore, engage, and experience, there were some items that they gave us and told us what they had done and what were their needs and what they needed extra assistance with. They do an excellent job of the career fair, but they needed help with funding. By the time we had the funding, we weren't able to pay for at the beginning of it, but we did cover some of the cost of any receipts that were submitted in, as well as a list was provided to us for future items that they might need. So we were able to help with Crystal Wheeler, who's the grant manager, able to help us purchase these items and order these items, not only for the middle school, but for the high school. And some of these items will be used at the elementary level as well. Again, like Ms. Gutierrez said, we are trying to focus on K-12. So these are the different areas and the different activities. Some of these activities need extra support. So one thing that is going to be mentioned more later is we had to find partners to work with. So part of our duties were to work with, to find partners that we can be able to build more relationships with. Ms. Alvarez helped us with a list of people that she works with. We have lists that we have worked with in previous years. And Marin Lee also had her running list for the high school that they had worked with. The counselors did share with me some of the groups that they work with. So our job as the 3 coaches were to try to find ways and get in contact with them again to be able to build these partnerships again. Through the strategic planning committee, I actually got to meet the representative for Cleveland Cliffs in person. We have been going back and forth via email. And so it was really nice to actually meet her in person, and we are setting up plans for the future for the high school and the middle school to participate with that company more. So that is our way of trying to help support them, because once this grant runs out, because it will, no grant lasts forever, we have to sustain that. So our job in implementing this, trying to implement this program, was to try to get that sustainability for that. So here are some pictures and the Block Career Fair, that the counselors did an excellent job. They have a committee of people at each of the buildings. The high school and the middle school has a committee that they have representatives come in. I want to say they have had anywhere from 30 to 50 tables of different vendors. I believe some of you may have set, okay. And our technology department goes in as well. We have two of our people, but we try to have, what the really neat thing about the career fairs is that they always try to look for alumni representation. They try to also use our students that we have. So our high school students set up vendor tables at the career fair. So they do an excellent job of setting this up. We just have to try to help them get funding for what they need, for the materials they need. So this is the high school's information, and these are some of the activities that they're involved in and pertain to the career framework that we have to abide by under Explore, Engage, and Experience. And here are some pictures for the high school as well, some trips that they have taken. Now, as far as agilities, we had to be agilities trained, and agilities training involves the ability to be able to coach students on their career paths, to be able to work with exploring any career options. They have what is called the Agile Work Profiler, which is almost like a survey that the students would take to see where they land at and what type of career path that they would do. There are 10 agilities, and within this agilities program is set up through the DeBruce Foundation, and that's where we were trained. Maureen Lee was the first to be trained. Ms. Gutierrez and I were able to be trained later toward the end of the year. And Megan Burris, who is the JAG teacher at Central High School, she sat in on that training as well. The high school and the middle school counselors, we had requested for them to be present in this, and we had we submitted their names for them to be present, but they were not able to attend this training session. But we did request for all 7 counselors between both of those buildings to attend. As far as the employability app, this is between the agilities and the employability app, this is where the technology component comes in. And so this is why I was kind of brought in on this. As far as employability app, it is an app that is there to help us with lessons and focus on the employability skills. And it is from K all the way to 12th grade. The lessons are already created. It is a very intense app. I'm not going to sit here and say it's super easy, but what I do appreciate about it, it has tools. Just like the agilities, it has tools that we can use and resources that we can use. Being a part of this cohort and this training session gives us the opportunity to have this for our teachers and our staff. I would not recommend, and this is something that we talked about as a team, the 3 of us, to push this out, mandate all next year, you need to do this. That is way too much. We need to baby steps and put it out there, because the teachers already have a workload of stuff that they have to identify. But the fact that we can still incorporate some of these skills and some of these resources into their program and into their classroom would be a great assistance to them. They don't have to go looking for stuff or creating stuff.
So I just wanted to give you an update, because we mentioned the funding of where we are with our mini grant spending. And so you'll see the balance that is being maintained by our grant manager. We've already purchased career books for grades K to 3 for teachers to have explicit instruction around careers. And there's the pricing there. We've also supported the middle school with reimbursing them for some of their fees that they acquired during having their career fair this year. And then we've also been proactive with meeting with the middle school and seeing what we could buy for next year. So we already have those materials for them for next year's career fair. And then we have partnered with the high school to help design and create what's called a career corner exploration. And so some of the districts have these stations at their high school and the middle school where the kids are able to go and to work on the Agilities program, but it's more of an office space for them, and it's considered the career exploration. So we've already purchased items to go in that area for both the middle school and the high school. You'll notice that the trips we did take on, there was no fees or allocations for that. That's because School City does a great job of paying for the transportation ourselves. Most of the colleges that we visit, it's free for our kids. So it's not in our expenditures because the visit is free, our bus is free, and the kids get lunches from school that they take for free. So those visits aren't on there, but they did take college visits. Then we have the $10,000 for stipends. We wrote the description of the work that Michelle and I did for the spring. Like I said, once again, this is a 2-year, so the remainder of the funding will be going into fall, because now as we get into the implementation and the trainer processes in it, this will then be moved down to not just counselors, but also instructional coaches, because they'll have to work with K-12 teachers, and also teachers that expertise are actually teaching content areas. We have a middle school teacher who her course is on careers, so then she would have to be trained on this. We have another one at the high school. They would have to be trained on it. So this is a train-the-trainer model. We would have loved for everyone to have the opportunities to be trained by the Agilities people themselves, but that did not happen. Obstacles right now are time to collaborate, meeting with the teachers and the training. We only have 1 day of training when we come back, so we're gonna have to figure out how we utilize those e-learning days to roll this out with our teachers. The buy-in, right now, staff, they know there's a lot of things they have to do. They don't understand the connection between introducing the aerospace engineer in kindergarten. So we're trying to make it make sense for them that they are, we're all responsible for directing the kids to career exploration. And then we've mentioned financial stability. This grant goes away. We have to spend it by December 30th. And then just making sure we're very clear on why we were sent to do this plan or create this plan for School City. There are some goals we have for next year to continue. School Links is being adopted. We'll work with that for 6th to 12th. And this is going to be very important because we mentioned all the stuff that we are doing already. We analyzed our program to see where we were first before we started making goals for where we wanted to go, and then also take into account what the state was telling us we had to go. So one of the big things is going to be the tracking. The state is now requiring that we don't just say we're having a career fair. They want a tracking system for all of our students to say they attended the career fair, or they did a mock interview, or they did whatever activity we have. We have to now, and that's where a lot of the planning goes into. So no longer can we just give them a list of activities that we do. They want it per child, what they did. And so it has the employee app to it, and then also the Agilities career coaching meetings. More focused and more intentional in providing the career-connected learning opportunities, aligning our efforts with the graduation requirements, and then strengthening the district's alignment by coordinating across the schools and grade levels. Validation, from working with the program, we can say that, you know, we as School City do a lot of exposure for career pathways. We just now have to extend our branches down more intentionally to the middle school and the elementary, allowing our students to engage in real-world concepts and professions, but also being able for them to explore their interests, to explore their skill set, to see where that would lead them into what career they could fit in. A lot of our kids get deterred because they don't know what they're good at. So we're trying to say if you're a good speaker, and agilities will bring that out of them, and they'll be able to then, like, if you're great at this, this is possibly a career you could work in. So we're excited to utilize the agilities program next year. We're excited to be able to provide this to our students, to make sense and align all the arrows. And like I said, this conversation is no longer just for the high school. This is a conversation that needs to be held with all of our kids, K to 12, with a plan. So the last thing I'm going to end you with is we gave you the coaching framework. That's the second handout we gave you. So as you're looking through it, this is something that will be utilized this year, where it actually has the monthly activities that we'll be focusing on. The teachers will have common careers to be focusing on, but we also put the explore, engage, and experiences that need to be done at each grade level. And at the very end is the best part. Our teachers we're not only asking them to do it, these are linkable resources that they'll be able to link and get whatever resource to fulfill the activity. So all of the planning is done for them. So a lot of our efforts went into creating a plan that made sense to them and resources so that when we ask them to transition into this new way, we provide them with the support they need. And that was all. And it was a lot, but thank you. Any questions?
Madam President,
Yes, trustee Gomez.
I apologize, I'm going to be all over the place.
That's
Oh,
good.
no.
That's fine.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned the obstacles, because there was a question I was going to ask you, but this is a new program at this point in time, correct?
Correct.
So I just attended a STEM conference in LA through NALEO, and they talked a lot about, diving down into the elementary schools to expose kids to STEM. I'm going to ask you, what did you learn from this being your first year?
Well, I think I learned that there is a lot of, the skill set is the biggest thing. I think that we focus a lot on academics, but there is so much more to a whole person, and really digging into talents and skill sets. I think that if we start doing that at a younger age, we can then capture the kids into conversation. So I thought that was a big thing, that we hit the surface of this career is possible, but how and why, and also having conversations of giving teachers tools to start seeing different parts of a student besides just the academics.
You mentioned a number of times teachers, you mentioned counselors, but I never heard conversation about principals. What role would they play?
Well, principals are instructional leaders in their building. So with that being said, they will monitor, just like they would the curriculum maps, any initiative that comes down. And that's why we try to put it in an easy monitoring place. And so we embedded it right in the curriculum map so they don't have to search. They can kind of see that we're working on this unit of study. This is the employability skill, not just for kindergarten, but this is a employability skill I should see in all of them. And so when I talk to a child and I ask them, like, hey, on your last study, this was your focus, the student should be able to say, yes, we talked about, that in class.
We talked about high ability, I believe, at a previous board meeting. I believe it was maybe at Harrison. I think a question I had asked back then was high ability, is that only focused at Harrison, or do we have it across the district?
We have a district high ability.
Okay. Just curious, you mentioned careers and the career fair. Because I wanted to be a teacher when I went to college. Was teaching part of that,
For,
the career fair that you had?
I don't know if they had a representative for teaching.
I'm not sure. They had a whole variety of
Really?
representatives. I think they try to sometimes stay away from firefighters, teachers, and police officers because that is typically what students identify with. So they're trying to think outside the box a little bit. So they're going with different professions.
So I wanted to be a policeman, fireman, astronaut, and teacher when I was younger. So to that very point, yeah, I think that's common for a lot of kids, but that leads to the next question. What if a kid wants to be a nuclear physicist? How do, I'm thinking way crazy, but,
So in, I believe it's third or fourth grade, one of the activities is to actually investigate that career and do a presentation on it. And they investigate what college they need to go to, what's the expertise of that, what the median is of the income. And so they have the empowerment to go and investigate on their own. And that does empower them, because then if they do want to be that, they know they have to pay attention to math, they have to pay attention to science. So I believe that's one of the third grade activities, is the career exploration presentation.
and,
Just to add
Go
to
ahead.
that, one of the, I'm trying to find my page, I'm sorry. One of the, it's the Agile Work Profiler. It's a survey that the kids take, and it's through Agilities. And it breaks down their, what their agilities are. So like, they could be innovation, it could be service and care, or servitude, and then it could be management. There's a bunch of different ones. So that breaks down for the kids. They'll give them their 3 highest where they rank, and then they're able to look at different job opportunities that fall under those categories. And all of this is done online, and all of this the teachers can have access to, and it could be a one-on-one session with each of the kids. But the fact that they're able to see, it was, I mean, we did it, we had to do it, and we had an aha moment for ourselves, like, wow, that's what we are. I mean, I think everybody should do it, and it's free, and you can do it, anybody here can do it. But it kind of gives you a little bit of who you are, what you are, and what you're capable of being able to do, that sometimes the kids don't see that. But just by answering these questions, they're able to, kind of find out more about themselves.
if you could share that with Dr. Bournet, and then he can share that with the board. And then maybe that kind of leads to my final question. Do the kids pick, like, do you initially start them like, hey, what do you want to be? Or do they go through this exercise first?
Well, they'll go through the exercise first, depending on their grade level, but what we're trying to do is, with the littles, just explore them to everything. So everybody's going to learn about the engineer today. Everyone's going to be talking about the pilot tomorrow. So it's just more, it says explore, engage, and what's the last one?
Experience.
Experience. So depending on their level, that's what we're working with them on. So that's mainly the exploring and getting them engaged with the careers.
So my last question, what are kids into today?
Oh, they want to be gamers. They want to be YouTube stars, which is fine because they make a lot of money. But they have to take the agilities and see if that matches to what they, want to do. Be organized enough, be tech enough to do those things. But yeah, it's usually gamers and
it's not going to tell you, no, you can't do this.
Yeah.
It's not going to say, no, you can't go into, but it is going to kind of try to define you of what your strengths are to help you move in that direction.
Yeah.
It even talks about different college opportunities, like kids can put in, I want to be in a big college. This is my career. This is what my career is, and it will throw out all the different
these are
colleges.
the best colleges for you.
It will even tell you if you give a monetary amount of this is what I could afford to pay yearly, it'll tell you then these are the colleges you can go to, whether you're in state, out of state.
Yeah.
So it has a lot, and it has a lot of resources that maybe counselors and deans and social workers and the PCT teachers have not had before. Now, that's available.
There was a lot of discussion at the conference I attended about AI, and we're going to dig into that as a board a little bit later. But to your comment about gaming, I had recommended Dr. Bournet communicate with Daryl Hughes, who's Diane knows him very well. He has a gaming, he teaches gaming to a lot of school districts in Illinois, and he's from East Chicago.
Okay.
Went to Bishop Knoll with me and Sam, and so I'd like to try to get him.
Not too much.
I was going good there for a while.
Yeah, for a minute.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out. That gaming's really interesting. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It sounds like that tool, it's like exposes or highlights like transferable skills. And those are one of the things that I learned when I participated in the, well, the kids learned as well. When I participated in the Career Day at Block, I appreciated they came with questions, and some went outside their list of questions, but they were really really intriguing questions. I'm like, they're like, well, what's the most you can make in your career? And I'm like, well, excuse you. So, but they found it interesting that I work for a healthcare organization, but I do absolutely nothing clinical. And I tied it in, I tied my role into there. I think the IT table was across from me. So they were analysts, and I said, they're the analysts. They pretty much digest the program, and they build the software, and they build the program out, and then what they put together, my team trains it to the rest of the hospital. And it's a very lucrative position as well, so they were like very intrigued by that. Another thing I appreciated was there was a group of kids, a large group of kids, English learner kids, didn't speak English, but they had a translator with them, but it was another student. And I just thought that was so cool. That was just so cool, and they were asking really good questions as well, but yeah, so I really appreciated that experience with the Career Day. Thank you.
Christina, no.
It wasn't that easy.
I'm not going to pick on you tonight. No, I just want to say thank you for starting at the elementary level. Trustee Gomez asked a lot of questions. You just had a student, I don't know if you knew that, but okay, first of all, let me tell you this. You said you needed more partnerships. Well, you're sitting back there with Ms. Daniels.
No, we're speaking of, I appreciate her partnerships for resources, but we're looking at the organizational that Cleveland.
Okay, but you never know who she knows.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe, I'm just saying, it's called interacting. You might not know that I might know a pilot that can help you. You might not know that I know a scientist that can help you. You might not know that I know a pharmacist that can help you. I'm just saying, don't just limit it. Because you had one student, and he was one of my students, well, I mentored. He graduated this year. And when he was 5 years old, he was, you know what I'm talking about, he wanted to be a pilot. He did not let it go. When he got on his first airplane ride, that he acted up, he was already bad anyway, but he acted up so bad till they had to go and let him sit in the cockpit with the pilot. And he was determined to do that. And he stuck with that up until now. So the good thing about it is his counselor, the counselors picked out, found out what he wanted to do, his talent, and what he strived to achieve. And his counselor made sure that he got directed to the right people for him to get into the right programs through at college and take the right courses, even in high school. So I'm saying, it's a good program, but you gotta work it hard. But don't ever underestimate the people that sit into you that might know somebody that can help you get to the next level. Because we have so many, our children are so creative. We just don't tap into their talents because, like you said, we're always constantly saying, academics. Well, you know what? You don't have to be a millionaire, and you don't have to be an A student to be a millionaire. Harvard, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be quiet. Harvard they want you to have the curriculum and academic, but what Harvard really wants from students, to think outside the box. So you can graduate from Harvard with the Harvard degree, but if you're not creative, you're just a graduate. So, it's a good program, but never always use your pathways and people that you know might be able to help you get to the next level. It's a good program because you started, early, but I'm just saying.
Appreciate that comment. Yep, thank you.
And you are welcome.
Okay, I have Just a few questions here. One of my concerns is when I see on our personnel report, we never get any data. We're getting data now.
Yeah.
And then when I see the amount of monies, dollars that have to be paid out to individuals, which is yourself and Mrs. Navarro's. I don't even know if Mrs. Lee, she was one of the persons that helped out as well. I don't see no dollars that she's receiving. Is she receiving any dollars?
No. After the first memo was submitted, she was on the original, and they believe a conflict in her current job description and the things that she was doing with the grant kind of had her removed from receiving the dollars.
But, yeah, and so, yeah. So with that being said, then, a lot of times that some of our instructional coaches, what's your title? You're elementary?
Director of Elementary.
Yes, Director of Elementary. And so, it gives me the impression that you go into the classroom with these students. Were you in the classroom giving them instructions or whatever it is that this program was supposed to have you to do?
No,
How did you touch the students?
No, nothing's happened. This year has been the planning and next year will be the implementation.
Right.
But even when that happens, the creation of the plan and the system that needs to be created has to be done first, before. So that was the role of the three coaches, is to get a system and a plan first before we could implement it in our classrooms.
Okay, so once this get implemented, then who would oversee it? Would the teachers have involved in this? or
That's
what?
when we then spread the wealth of who's helping, and that's when the counselors come in, the instructional coaches come in, and the teachers who are specific to the college and career.
And they won't have to get will they be paid any extra salaries
Well-
that you're aware of the teachers? See, it's all about how
Yeah.
we see it on the personnel report.
Yeah, well, the thing is that we can't pay them to do curriculum what the state is telling us to do. Like the state is telling us, you're gonna have to have a plan, you're gonna have to submit the plan, you're gonna have to do it. So they'll just be fulfilling being a teacher.
Being a teacher, right?
Yeah.
So this is not part of what you're supposed to be doing as your job title. This has nothing to do with your job title at all.
No,
This is
the creation of it, no, this is extra.
Okay then. And so you said that,
And then the reason this is extra is because other districts actually have a
saw
district
that.
career coach. We don't have one.
Right,
So
and
this is the caveat to doing what we gotta do to make sure our kids get the same experiences.
I know that's why Helen was asking the question like she was asking because we know other school districts do have it.
Yeah, and we
And
can,
that's
we
why
know
and that's why the
realistically,
question
that's
came
not gonna
about
happen.
with the two of you all, doing this. So that was one of, that.
And I
was one
understand
of-
that.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns that I had to ask a question about.
Also to add, not only the monthly meetings that we had to go to the different locations, we had to conduct monthly meetings ourselves on top of to complete our homework, to complete any task, to get spreadsheets done, to get rostering, different things. So we had to meet additionally on top of that. So it was not something that we were able to just do overnight or 1, 2, 3. We had to constantly.
Oh, well, I appreciate it,
Thank you.
Are there any more questions from the board? No. Yes, Trustee Taylor?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again, Ms. Gutierrez and Ms. Navarro. We would like to indulge the board to switch our order to our presenter from ESS. As one of the superintendent's goals, specifically goal number 4, the superintendent will ensure that no more than 10% of teaching staff are not retained. One of those sub-goals was the superintendent was to create a plan for substitute teachers. And in alignment with making sure that I achieve that goal, we are proposing to partner with ESS to address not only a number of issues which you heard our staff who came before us talk about the shortages. Ms. Koulianos talked about the shortages of some of our special ed staff, including therapists and clinicians. But obviously, we're dealing with teaching staff. And then part of our issue to combat our teachers being overwhelmed because we have sub-shortages, meaning they have to take classes on and split classes and take on a number of duties, is this solution. So I'll turn it over to our Director of Human Resources, Dr. McJunkins.
Good evening, trustees. I have tonight a short presentation from ESS. The Department of Human Resources conducted a search for a firm to assist us with providing plenty of substitute teachers and paraprofessionals, and even some teachers who could become full-time teachers with our district after them working with us for a time. So we looked at the proposals from 4 organizations, Emergis, ESS, Kelly Services, and Zen Educate. Now, there should be in your packet, there was a sheet. Is that sheet there? So that gives you the comparisons. And tonight, we would like to have a presentation by ESS, a brief presentation, which is the company that we felt would best fit our needs in School City of East Chicago. One of the key things is that since there's a teacher shortage in many states, what we want to do is still make sure that we have teachers or substitute teachers in front of our children, okay, at the onset of the beginning of school. So I would like to present to you right now Jessica Johnson and Bernie Pelk, and they're going to give you a brief presentation regarding the services that ESS offers.
I'm not used to being behind a podium. This is different.
Sometimes he can't act right if he's behind the microphone, so I'll apologize now.
Well, thank you, trustees, for your time tonight. We'll try to be brief. I know I have a 4-hour presentation here. We've been sitting here for 2, so we'll win it down to just a couple minutes. So I'm Bernie Peltz. I'm the Executive Vice President of the Midwest region for ESS. ESS is a company that's been providing staffing services for school districts since for a number of years now, and I've been involved on this side of the table after being in the classroom for a while, about 22 years, give or take a few, in this process. So one of the things that ESS is great about is we are exclusively focused on K-12 education services. Right now, we're the largest provider of staffing services, be it substitute teachers or auxiliary services for school districts in the United States of America. One of the greatest things that we bring to the table is because we're so large and because we have business on the east, west, north, and south, we collaborate extensively and we're able to solve problems that your school district has. So again, our primary focus is to help aid in staffing those substitute teachers, those parapros, those SLP positions, or whatever position that you'd like us to look at. And with that, that's so you can focus on your primary responsibility, which is educating students. So a little bit about us in Indiana. I've been in Indiana for a number of years. We currently service 32 school corporations. The closest one to you is Lake Ridge right now, and there's a number of schools that we have around the, I guess it would be the northern Indiana area, all the way down towards Indianapolis. So one of the things that we bring to the table here today is something we call our full service model. It's not just a staffing service where you give us a call, we send somebody over. It's all about developing a community of employees from your community and they have the expertise and the ability to deliver the services that you're looking for. So one of the ways that we do that is through our area manager that we have in place now that's able to provide those services to your individual buildings as well as to your administration here locally. So one of the best ways we describe this type of service model is we call a principal-centric support model. This is what's unique to us in the industry and what provides much of our success. Focusing on individual building needs, working with your individual building administrators, and solving the problems that they have at their building. So we know each building's different, they have different dynamics, they have different educational structures, and that's what we're able to do. Using our area managers, visiting with those buildings, visiting with those districts, getting to know the staff and the team in the buildings, and then bringing back those issues to our organization so that we can help target recruit, target train, and provide those solutions that you might need. So Jessica, I've kind of stolen the mic from you, but I'll let you take the recruiting.
I actually have my own.
Oh, look at you.
So we do a ton of recruiting in the community. I'm not going to talk about this too long. Maybe I should just switch with you. I'll switch to them.
Is that off? All right. That's it. All right.
So a couple of things I just want to point out here, probably a couple of my favorite programs are going to be the Refer a Friend program. So this is the ESS sponsored program. Anybody in the district, substitute teachers, anybody is eligible for this program. Anybody that you refer to ESS that gets hired, of course, there's going to be stipulations. They do have to work and things like that. We pay them back $100 for the referral. Again, this is an ESS-sponsored program. This does not come out of your pocket. It really only benefits, us as a whole to have those folks on board. In addition to that, because there are certain credentialing requirements for the state of Indiana, as with all states, we do also pay for a portion of the credentialing reimbursement. So of course there is a background check and a state of Indiana substitute license. We do help our new applicants recoup a portion of that cost, which certainly helps on the recruiting front. We do also have a ton of different raffles locally, as well as our ESS corporate page, and employee of the month programs. These are folks that your school district says, hey, Jessica is a fantastic substitute teacher. We choose those people, and then we go ahead and spotlight those. So lots of really good programs that ESS does participate in. We heard a lot about the career fair earlier. That's something that ESS would like to participate in as well. I know you don't focus on teachers, but we could maybe get a table there. Different local events and things like that we would participate in. We do a lot of parent-teacher nights, conferences, things like that. We set up our ESS table to help recruit some of those parents that you think would be a good fit for substitute teaching as well. Yep, absolutely. Again, a lot of different community engagement that we do, a lot of different partners that we have. We get into colleges as well. We want to target those folks that do think they want to go to school to be a teacher. We can go ahead and put them in a classroom and so they can get their feet wet and see if it's actually something that they want to do. You can go ahead and turn the next one. We do also do a lot of professional development and training. Obviously, we want to make sure new candidates coming into the district are prepared for what it's like to be a substitute teacher. We do this a ton of different ways in a ton of different states. We have, GCN trainings. We have actual live trainers, different things like that. It's really customizable, whatever you think is going to work best for your district and your students. We do also have some different professional development incentives for substitute teachers that do think they want to go on to be a teacher. So we do help them obtain those credentialing and the costs associated with that as well. Those are, again, ESS-sponsored programs. Mrs. Smith, you'll definitely like this. You talked a lot about transparency and reporting. We can do all of that. We use different absence management systems. We use different kind of back-end systems that we've put in place. We can tell you fill rates. We can tell you substitute teachers that are hired. Really any kind of data that you want. You guys spoke earlier a lot about transparency. That is also a big thing to us. So we do a lot of weekly reporting to your district, letting you know what fill rates are, kind of what obstacles we're facing, what our hires are, different things like that. Again, just data any way you want it. A lot of different reporting samples. Again, those are pulled both from ESS programs and the Frontline Absence Management System or whatever system that you're currently using. I don't know if you want to take that on.
We were asked to provide, after spending some time here with your administration team and your HR team, we were asked to provide some quotes for services, and this, I don't know if you can see very well on the slide or if it's in your board packet there, but those are some of the areas that we're asked to provide quotes for. Those are all areas that we can service directly. It's not a problem for us. I think one of the couple great things that we hear back from our subs and our employees in general is their access to a 401k program when they're working for us. their access to health insurance. We have a great health insurance package that they can participate in if they choose to do so. And then their flexibility in their scheduling. So those three things really are incentives that we can provide to them. Because we're not restricted by the certain rules and certain things, we offer a lot of incentives for our subs as well and for our employees. You know, Monday, Fridays are tough days to fill. And then building, and once we have our group of employees together, we really focus on honoring that group and partnering with you. So you're gonna hear a lot of communication, be it on social media or us sharing it directly with you, about the activities of our subs in the community and in the school, the success of our subs in the community and in the school. And then when there's problems with subs, then we'll get together on that and we'll decide how we're gonna handle those things together. We have a great system that we follow for HR compliance in those areas. But I guess the reason why I mentioned that is mostly because there's a lot of substitute teachers that want to sub, and they're good at it. They just may not be working the right grade level or in the right area of instruction. So that's something that we can help them with, and we can also help train them up and make sure they're fully armed and ready to go in the classroom. So we have a whole bunch of other slides here that talk about implementation plan and timelines, and I don't know if you want to get all into that, or if you just want that information shared for your own review, or if we just want to open up the questions. Certainly, we can explain how we utilize your frontline service or ASOP. Yep, we actually we're the Frontline's #1 user in the nation. We actually have the ability to look at how you're utilizing the service, and we can rebuild that service to directly fit your needs, both in HR as well as at the building level. We can provide trainings for your staff and for your team, as well as your teachers on how to optimize that system usage. So part of our process with you with Frontline will be doing the analytics on that and seeing how you're using it now and making sure that it's working and operating properly at its optimal level for you as well as for us. Any other questions?
As far as the cost is concerned, are there any additional administrative costs outside of the billable rates?
No.
No.
In fact, you only pay for what we staff for you. So if we don't staff a position for you and it's left vacant, then you don't have a charge for that. So there's no subscription fees, there's no recurring fees. It's basically, if we can do the job that we're supposed to do, then you get your position filled and then we get paid. If we don't do the job we're supposed to do, then we don't get paid.
Let's answer what I had.
I'll go back to the slide. It had all the Indiana districts on there. Yeah, it's back at the beginning, but it's all right. It's a good one to end on. And if you have other questions as you go through this, we'll make sure you get this, we'll get this email to you.
We actually have it.
Oh, you do? Okay,
Yeah.
good. I apologize. I wasn't sure if you did or not. So if you have that, that's great. That gives you a good overview. If you need additional references anywhere in the nation from same size comparable school districts, we can do that for you. You can talk to Lake Ridge. They're right up the road. Great partner of ours. We started with them last fall. Their issue was similar to yours, not quite enough subs, not good communication between the buildings and administration, and just the workload required now to build this community of subs is different. Back when I started this business, it was all about just making yourself available to sign up applicants. And then it became, after COVID, we had to, really dig in, help people find out how they can help and serve their community, and then show them the path along the way to get in the classroom and be successful.
Dr. McJunkins, I think this question is for you. How would this impact the department workflow as it relates to not having this task in the department?
Well, currently, Mrs. Wright is handling
Oh.
ASOP subs. That she will no longer have to deal with. It's going to be in the HR department. So this will assist us to make sure we have bodies and teachers, substitute teachers that are trained to be substitute teachers and trained to provide instruction for our students and potentially become certified licensed teachers for the district. So this gives us an opportunity to look at the sub, and it gives them an opportunity to see if they're a good fit for us.
And I don't know if you answered this in the presentation earlier or not, but what is the time frame in which a sub can, or let me see if I can articulate this. What's the time frame in which we could buy a sub to become a teacher? Do they have to work a certain number of hours, or?
Depends on how many you're gonna buy. Because it's a serious question, because we've been in school districts before where they take a lot at once, and then they get mad at us that we can't fill their sub jobs. So it's something that always take into consideration. But one of the things that we want to be able to do, we want to be an asset and a partner to you. And we see the value of us bringing a sub in that may be credentialed or working on credentialing, or someone that you just like with a personality that we can bring through to become a teacher, and then that you want to hire them. So we see it's a virtuous cycle that we can come in, we can get them going, you grab them, and then everybody wants to work for us to work for you. And that's a great process for us. So we want to encourage that, and we want to enable that as much as we can.
Okay.
So we don't have a timeline,
Well,
but we do require communication.
okay.
Does that make sense? So if we bring
It
somebody
does,
on and you're like,
it
we
does,
want
but
them.
I know, like, when I used to hire, and I don't want to say like a temp service, right?
Sure.
They have to work a certain number amount of hours before we can even bring them on full-time and transfer everything, our benefits and all those things. So I didn't know if that stipulation also applied. Like, if they're here 6 months and they become a teacher, and like, okay, we want them and we can bring them on.
That's perfect.
And is there a buyout? Like, all right,
There's not currently a buyout. We didn't recommend we provided that to you. So everything for you is, here at this district is really simple and is really a partnership in regards to that. So we don't require a certain number of days. There's not a buyout fee.
okay.
Those things don't matter.
Okay. And last question, the screening of the individual, is that on our part or your part?
It's on our part.
Okay,
We'll handle all the compliance that have to do to be state and compliant
okay,
to be a substitute teacher.
all right, thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All that information will be provided to HR as part of our files.
Yes, whatever, yeah, we can collaborate on any information that you want to have.
I'm interested in how this works in real time. Where are you based out of?
Well, our closest district we serve is just Lake Ridge up the road, but we have offices all over the nation. Our corporate office is in Knoxville, Tennessee. We have an office in Michigan, when we have all the locations that we currently service now. So our timeline for implementation generally is 4 to 6 weeks. So we're pressing up against the start of the school year already, but that's not a problem for us either in regards to that. And then for us to implement, we work with your HR department to correspond and communicate with the current list of substitutes, as well as restart our recruiting programs. And then we support that by bringing staff in, as well as our area manager, to provide those services.
And this is all just teachers, correct?
Currently, we're discussing substitute teachers, parapros.
Teachers, that makes sense,
Yep.
yeah. Okay. And then, sure,
They do offer, there's some more on there, they do offer.
yeah, I saw that.
Yes, we have we can offer healthcare as well as social work, SLP, speech language pathologies, therapy positions.
And I know it's a different time than when I grew up, but there was a lot of one-on-one, and you mentioned communication earlier. How does that person buy into you? You're remote, basically, Michigan, you said. So how does that person, there seems to be like a gap there in distance.
Sure.
I can talk a little bit about that. So you would obviously be serviced by the team members that are currently within the state. So there really is not a lot of remote work done except for the initial application process. So a lot of our teams do either on the phone interview or in person. And then a lot of our orientation sessions are also in person. So while you may look good on paper, we can get in front of you and say, maybe that's not going to be a good fit. So yeah, a lot of in-person communication as well as electronic, of course.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Point, just for a point, we did find out that we will not be able to utilize them for special ed paras. All other paras we can.
How's your bilingual mix?
Personally, not good. However, we do have a lot of bilingual folks that do work for ESS as a whole. So, and if you know somebody in the community, we would love to partner with them as well. Yep.
Where are you all located?
You mean,
Like
Where you're
personally?
Yeah. Your
So
com-
I'm from Michigan.
No, your
Oh,
company. It is here.
Our
Where you
nearest
from?
our nearest corporate office is in Michigan, and then the next, our central corporate office is in Knoxville, Tennessee.
The closest one is Michigan to us.
Correct.
all of the folks, though, that are currently servicing Indiana do have either locations within our partner school districts or they are remote working from home. So they actually do live specifically in the state of Indiana.
Any more questions from the board? Well, I want to apologize for the long day, evening here. I want to apologize, some stuff the board was not expecting, okay? But we appreciate your presentation.
Thank you so much. He owes me dinner now. It's okay.
Oh, okay, well, go get it then.
Well, I appreciate the work you guys do. I appreciate you guys having us in and allowing us to share. So if any other questions after this meeting, let us know, go through the channels, and we'll get
Oh,
back
yeah,
with you
'cause
guys.
I see the expression
anytime.
on your face when you say you 4 hours,
Yeah.
I heard what you said. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you guys.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Oh, come on.
And now we will resume our order on your agenda. We're going to bring Nelson Pena to discuss the new accounting system.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Nelson.
We were tasked with finding a replacement for our current financial system. To clarify, it's not just financial, it's all our business systems, so that encompasses payroll, personnel, financial, and extracurricular accounting at the school level. So it's more of a business application replacement. Mr. Captain and I, we talked with several vendors. We sort of vetted them out to see, and we had about 4 of them that we discussed with, and then we broke it down to 3. And I think we gave you like our little matrix, I think was in your packet of what we decided and who we're recommending. I said we're recommending Boyce Systems as a replacement. Some of the things that we looked at, of course, we looked at price, but we looked at their functionality. The system that we currently have, while the user interface is not pretty, some people say, it does a lot of things for us. So we wanted to make sure that anything that we pick new is going to continue to do what we're currently doing, plus add some more value to it. So we looked at the functionality. We looked at also their conversion strategies, and as far as historical data, how much are they going to convert for us? And some of them, they only wanted to convert like a year's worth. Anything prior to that, they're just in the form of general ledger entries with no detail to support it in the background. We also looked at, one of the biggest things that we looked at was we discussed with a lot of other school districts in the area that were former users of our current system to find out what they were using, what their experiences were like. And based on that was how we scored. and how we came to the conclusion of recommending Boyce Systems as a replacement. I think that's basically it. Any questions?
So I noticed that for the conversion of the current and historical data, you scored Boyce at 20 and the other two were at 5.
Right. Basically, the other ones would say, well, we're only going to convert so many years of data. Whereas Boyce says, if we convert, we can convert all of it.
All of it.
And past experience has told us that sometimes we're digging back several years to look for stuff. So that's where they scored big on there.
Is there any manual conversion involved, or is it all going to be
It would be
automated?
all automated.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
being that they have already converted, I don't have the exact number of how many school districts that are current users of our system right now, that they've actually converted successfully, and it's all automated.
Did they share any data and as it relates to downtime?
No, it would be sort of I call it sort of like a modified parallel conversion. So we would be running for approximately a year side by side
Okay.
with, and I say modified parallel because a traditional parallel system, somebody would have to enter stuff in the old and somebody in the new. This one is like, we'll process it on the existing system, oops, transfer the data over and then see how it converts, how it cleans up, and see, tweak anything that we have to do for that.
So you estimate about a year working side by side?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then that would also involve the time to train the staff on the new system as well.
Okay. How many staff would need to be trained total, do you know? Just a ballpark.
I gotta count. Everybody at the administration building, plus my extracurricular accounting clerks at the schools, which is your 9 ECA clerks. That's a whole other system in itself.
It's a huge training.
Right, right. And Boyce provided the most comprehensive training. Some of the other ones, they only give you like so many days on site, and then the rest is all web-based. And we've been through some web-based trainings that don't work out that well.
Get it?
And we get to sort of with them coordinate which departments so that we can set up trainings for individual departments and on site. And then they also do provide some web-based training as well. But their package was more comprehensive.
Okay.
Mr. Pena,
Yes.
Go ahead, Trustee Smith.
I'm sorry,
That's okay.
Madam President. I've been kind of waiting on this. We kind of know that our RDS system is kind of outdated.
It's, like I've said before, the interface looks outdated because it's an old character-based system.
Yes.
But in the background, it does a lot functional for us. So like I said, when we're evaluating these vendors, one of the things we want to make sure is that, we're going to get more out of it. We don't want to lose some of the stuff that we're doing now automated.
Correct.
And some of the other ones, some of the other companies did fall short on that,
Well, we kind of knew this was coming, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay.
All right, thanks.
Actually,
Pena, thank you. Okay, we know you tired too, because you done sat back there with your glasses on.
And they're not glasses, they're cheaters, so I can't see.
But we want to thank you.
Been
Mr.
here
Pena.
all day.
Thank you.
Yes, he has.
you can stay. The next agenda item are the administrator contracts for certified administrators for the 2025-2026 school year. Are there any questions for Mr. Pena?
Yeah, we had a question of one of the trustees on one of the contracts that we have. And I think we wanted to know, what did that NA stand for?
Yes.
So what is that?
I have to look at one of them and see where it's at.
Okay, we did ask the question, Mr. Pena, you know.
Can you,
Do
you'll
we have a
probably need to
second
see the
contract
contract.
that I could see?
Pardon?
You'll need to see the contract to see what you're referring to.
Well, we
For
had
one of
asked-
the
we had
previous
asked this
contracts
question,
for the 2024,
Yeah,
2020,
Go ahead.
for one of the previous contracts for the 2024-2025 school year, we had a certified administrator change roles. And on the first contract, for a number of hours where other administrators had 7, it said not applicable.
Oh, I think that was because we had to prorate that contract, from the old position. So they calculated the amount of what they got paid in that position
Okay.
versus what the new contract, the replacement.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
I see. I think you asked that question to Ms. Gomez. You hear what, Ms. Pena is saying?
Yes, you prorated that,
Right.
Yeah.
I got it.
Any other questions regarding the administrative contracts for 25-26?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Pena. Next, we will have Mr. Ontiveros come with the next agenda item, which is the NITCO phone system, phone service provider.
Good evening. Our CFO tasked the technology department to look at other phone solutions that are currently available in the market now. The two things we're looking at is to cut cost and to have handset sustainability. Basically, almost the logic is like having a cell phone, something that can last for 3 or 4 years. So we initially looked at 4 vendors. From those 4 vendors, we went down to 2. From those 2 vendors, we were able to negotiate pricing and see, a more in-depth conversation of what we really wanted in the district. So from those 2 vendors, we're asking the board to approve the recommendation of NITCO as our phone solution provider. They met both cost savings for the month and sustainability of the phone set. I'm open for questions.
Would we own the phones or would we lease them?
They're leased.
They're leased? And what happens at the end of the lease? Do we get an upgrade or?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I see where we save money when school is not in.
Correct. So that was one thing, a caveat from that group, that the other groups could not match. So they couldn't match. So when we're on summer vacation, they're able to cut costs because those
That's
schools are
nice.
not being used. So they cut costs on those schools.
Well, the funds, we wanted to know what funds was this coming out of?
Oh, yeah, what fun?
That is a Leela question.
Pardon?
Miss Leela, that would be a Leela question.
Okay, I heard you. This is a Lena question.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, Mr. Pena, you can't answer that then, huh?
That would be an operation.
Okay, thank you. I know Mr. Pena had to answer for it. Thank you, Mr. Pena. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Ontiveros?
I just doesn't have anything to do with this here, but I know that I had asked, you had hired some students, 8 students?
Correct.
Okay, and we've been waiting to know the students that you hired, but we've not got that information as of yet. Have they started working?
Yes, excellent students. This is pretty much our best group of students that we've had in the past 4 years. I mean, we've always had good students, but it seems like this group of students, they mesh well, they work well. We've actually had 2 students that worked last year, so they knew the system. So those are kind of our mentors for the rest of the group. So that group is really, really doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Okay, what's the makeup of the students? The makeup of the students? You got
They're from from
boys,
Central.
girls, or?
Oh, all males.
All males.
This year was just all males. Last year, we had some females, but this year's all
Oh,
males.
okay. Okay, then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ontiveros. Dr. McJunkins has the next item, which is the Teamsters Wage Reopener, or CBA. Dr. McJunkins.
Okay.
Attorney McCain and Ms. Simmons were not available. So I am presenting to you the Teamsters Wage Reopener. Because was just told, is it okay for me to hand this out? Just so that they'll have a comparison of last year versus this
Yes.
coming school year.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
That's last year's?
Yeah, that was last year's.
I have both of them here. I have, current proposal and, last school year's. So if you'll look on the first page has 2025, which is going to be, providing the board approves, is going to be the new, salaries for Teamsters. And then the second page you'll see is the current for Teamsters. So the difference will be $4.29 for the hourly rate for Teamsters. Then for the biweekly amount, it'll be a difference of $343.07 for Teamsters. And the annual amount will be $8,919.86 for Teamsters. And their one-year stipend is $100 difference for Teamsters. And then under the craftsmen, from the 24 to 25, our hourly rate is $1.50 increase. The biweekly rate is $144.71 increase. The annual amount will be $3,762.48 increase. And then their one-year stipend, $100. Are there any questions that I could possibly answer on behalf of Ms. Simmons?
Any questions from the board?
What's the total, when you, what's the total hit to the budget with these increases?
That's, I will definitely write that down, and I have to ask Ms. Simmons for that,
Okay.
because these are, okay.
Yeah, how much more is we gonna pay out this year than last year?
These individuals that's here, these individuals all work in facilities.
Yes,
All these salaries at facilities.
yes.
Do you know how many that we have that work in facilities that are broken down in Teamsters crafts?
Yes.
How many we got
And
Teamsters?
if you would like this, I can give you this. There's,
Okay.
let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay.
6, 7. There's 7.
Okay.
This list has salaries. I wasn't, I didn't know if I should give that.
I think I've seen this. That's how it is. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Have you seen this?
I think so.
So if you'll notice, the Teamsters and Craftsman salaries are different. All of the Teamsters have the same yearly annual salary, and all of the Craftsmen have the same annual salary.
We still have Craftsman 1, 2, et cetera, don't we? Or,
Yes. But they all kind of do, you know, you've got some people who do carpentry, you've got people who are plumbers, you have people who are electricians, so they do different things. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out of the operations budget, correct? Mm-hmm. Yep.
That is correct. Other questions regarding the Teamsters wage reopener?
And this will be the last of our 7 CBAs
Oh, it will be, huh?
for this school year. I'm talking about in terms of the negotiating. This was the last
Oh, I
one.
thought you was talking about the ending of it all.
No, no, no,
That's
no.
what I- that's-
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, no, I'm saying in terms of our negotiating process, this is the last one that we had to do.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. McJunkins. Before I do the remaining agenda items, I forgot I do want to go out of order to do the East Chicago Central Alumni MOU, since we have the president here. If there are any questions regarding that MOU for the alumni.
Yes, because I know you about to go to sleep too.
Yes, my apologies.
Yes. Yeah. All day, yeah.
Sorry for the, I'll rub your leg.
Yeah.
I would have brought her a mic.
Good afternoon, Diana Darton. Thanks for the opportunity to speak on this. Submitted an MOU to do a partnership with School City, the EC Central alumni, and I2 Sing America. Just wanted to give you just a little background of what it is. I think everybody should have a flyer, right? Okay. So I want to say 21, 22, the alumni had a reunion, of course, and we renamed the auditorium after Dr. Leon Kendrick, which was a legend, not only in our school central, but Washington. And did he do something at Roosevelt? No, but I mean, he was in touch with people in the community, period.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that we kind of circled the block on what we started unintentionally by honoring him with coming up with this. So when we did the Academy Awards last year, some of the board members came and probably attended other events that was in the auditorium and noticed the things that we lacked. And that was the curtains, the sound, the lights, and those seats was broke. The auditorium, I believe, has not been updated since the school was built in 1986, which will be 40 years next year. So we did what we did. We raised the funds, and I spoke to Ms. Leila Simmons, and she said, hey, you know, do what you can with the funds you raise. But then School City stepped up and enhanced the auditorium. So we have new curtains, as you know, and, you know, new things, the sound system. So that leads to this, the seats. So, you know, we always trying to do something in district, alumni-wise. So we came up with the idea of naming a legacy seat campaign, which involves the community. It gives the community not only if they're a senator or a Rough Rider, but East Chicago pride and Cardinal pride by investing in our school. So we wanted to reach out to people in the community, alumni from both Washington, Roosevelt, and also Central. And what they would be able to do is purchase a seat. And with these seats, they will be able to, on the back of the seat, they can put a plate which will have their name, whether it's their business, a loved one that passed away, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to put on the back will be there on those seats. That's just helping us put our dollars into the school, not just the alumni, but the whole community. And it's a fun campaign. It's a fun competition because we're competing among schools. So what we were trying to do with Central has 3 areas of the auditorium. One area will be Washington, one area will be Roosevelt, and the main area, of course, is Central. So, so it's just restoring the seats. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. I mean, the people in the audience can't read this, but it's $300 a seat and $280 if they're purchasing up at least to 5 seats and $260 for 10 or more. I would be the liaison carrying this out, and I2 Sing America would be the fiduciary, like where the funds would go. Anything under $5,000, anything over that I did discuss with the superintendent and Leela if we can have those just sent straight to the school, 'cause that's a lot. You know, then they make the check to the school. And that's like businesses like BP, already been in touch with them and Cleveland Cliffs, so that the businesses can also invest in the seats as well. So we're trying to make a big to-do with this also, and then possibly at the end of the year, next year, 25, 26, have a big reveal, event, so that people can come out and be proud of what they invested in and, go from there. And you also did, so I can be finished with it, received a letter from I2Sing America. That's also an event that's connected to this, where we're doing the Dancing with the Stars, which is alumni from all 3 schools. And that's also coming towards this as well as scholarships. And that's just giving some people a chance for fun, and also, like, everybody can't afford $300, just being honest. But they can afford $60 to come and still say, later on, it'll say I2Sing America and friends. Well, they know I went to that event, so where my dollars went. So this is just a chance for the community to be able to invest in our school and be proud about, so we can have what Gary Westside got. I don't need you to cheer that on. But no, but honestly, we have a great facility, and we can make it be. No, they're a model. They're definitely a model school, like what they have going on. They bring big shows there, and they get the kids incorporated in that as far as like working and learning how to do all the ins and outs. And they bring a lot of community events and concerts there, and I would love to see that here, in our district. So that's our part. And any questions?
We already seen everything already.
I have one question. Where would Bishop Knoll people sit at?
So Bishop Knoll sit so when you used to climb up in the ceiling and go.
You know what?
What
I'm not.
Just where the spotlight is, they hold the spotlight. So Jesse.
Oh, so Bishop Knoll gonna do spotlight?
Yeah, they do the spotlight.
Well, you better tell Mr. Smith, and Jesse.
Well, they got bad feet like me.
So
be the ushers at the door. No, I'm just playing.
I'm just messing with you. So I'm not a senator, and I'm not a Roosevelt, and I'm not a.
You're a
Clark.
business owner in the city.
I knew you was gonna say that. I was trying to get out. No, I knew you was gonna say that, but no problem.
So,
I would
this is
love
our
to
contribution, not just from alumni, but that East Chicago and area businesses and people, even people that live far away. Because Washington and Roosevelt, they don't have a school anymore. This is their way to leave their legacy here at the school. So that's why we felt that was the best title to be the Legacy Seat campaign.
Oh, yes.
So go after your Bishop Knoll people for lighting.
I'm
just messing.
Well, we need janitors, don't we? So no, with all serious, I think this is something fun, and like I say, people can invest in what's going on here at the school. Something positive.
We appreciate all that you do also. We really do. And this is your Academy Award was just different. It was just unique. So I know that this fundraiser will be a lot of fun, and I know you're gonna reach your goal.
Yeah. It became my baby. Like I said, wasn't even thinking long term on this when we named it after Dr. Kendrick. Then I didn't even. I don't know.
You've been trying to do that for a while.
Yeah, and it's
the
just,
alumni.
I don't know. It had to be given. It had to be God ordained because this was not perfectly set out. So, like I said, to name that after him, I didn't even have it in my mind then to do an Academy Award. So then to come along and do this, and like I said, to see some of you told me them seats was broke, but it was on all honesty. But people had to come in and see that. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, we got to do something about this because
I just think every event births another event, another, milestone that we have to reach or something that we have to just tackle as an alumni. So great job.
Yeah. Well, proud, and hopefully you guys will be able to pass this. I won't be able to be here Tuesday due to work, but I want to make sure if anybody had any questions today, I would be able to come.
Appreciate your time as well.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Be careful with your knee. I'm so sorry.
Thank you again, Ms. Darden. I could ask Ms. Navarro to be a sort of slide turner. Oh, actually, no, it's even better. Are you bringing me that? Thank you. Good evening again, board. Thank you. In your manila folders, you have the principal leadership coaching proposal again. Many of these documents you have already seen before. They are not new, but to do a folder walk with you, you do have a copy of the presentation which I'm sharing with you this evening. The principal leadership coaching document, which was shared in April, as well as a reprint of the package that I shared with the board last meeting, which is the contracts, the professional bios, and the resumes of the principal leadership coaches. I've also included as the front matter the bios or the professional resumes of the principal leadership coaches who were all invited, even if they weren't matched by our principals. So that is in your packet. So I wanted to share again with the board recommending the principal leadership coaching. Principal leadership coaching, once again, is that program designed to match our principals with an experienced executive coach. And so the overall goal is to improve student learning outcomes, improve building level climate and culture, as well as increase staff accountability. I wanted to briefly go in what the research says about leadership coaching and its effectiveness. So this falls under what the research calls capability development. And I want our board and our community to sort of shift their lens and think about our schools as being mini organizations, just like SCEC is an organization. The superintendent is a CEO. And each of those organizations have their own culture. Every school has its identity, has its own climate and culture. And so this respects the individual, the individuality of each of those schools, but it also recognizes that as an organization in total, we have to scale how do we build the strategic talent and capabilities of those various leaders, and how do we at scale improve the climate and culture. So this is under the umbrella, according to Staron and Weatherly, around building capability and capability development. The research also says that effective school districts invest in their leaders, their staff, their district level administrators. And we are on the road to be an effective school district. And we currently do invest in such. And so what we're continuing to do is not just invest in our students and our staff, but the leaders who lead them. When we talk about principal effectiveness, we talk about not necessarily turnaround improvement, but we're talking about rapid school improvement. And in order to do that, our principals need to be effectively supported and trained. So there's a wonderful study by Barella and McCurdy that talks about specifically what principals need for professional development, and specifically in urban schools. When we look at another source from the research, we talk about what we've mentioned earlier about how we coach leaders. And one of the specific pieces of, one of the specific findings is that principals responded that coaches provided guidance and feedback that helped the principal advance their skills. And successful turnaround principals view coaching as a form of professional development. So how is this principal leadership coaching different from when they would go to IPLI or other? This is job-embedded coaching. The coach comes to the building. The coach sits in the meetings with the school leader. Also from, and yes, I'm not above quoting my own research, what we found when I did my dissertation on how do we support principals, specifically turnaround principals, or specifically principals who are trying to rapidly improve their school, 70% of those that we interviewed, though were struggling turnaround principals, identified coaching as an instance when the district provided them with useful support. And so we want to make sure that we're providing our school leaders with useful support, in addition to other layers of support. And I won't read the entire quote, but from other turnaround principals, we talked about the importance of that person being in the building, sitting in the meetings with them, doing the walkthroughs with them, seeing what they see, and that critical eye that gives them some instant feedback. And that's what the principal leadership coaches will be doing. And then finally, 20% of principals in that study also said that they did not have executive leadership coaching or principal leadership coaching, and they felt that they would have benefited, their school would have benefited from improved learning outcomes if they had that resource available. So we recently approved the 2025-2030 strategic plan for the school CDB Chicago, and I want to discuss very briefly at a high level how the principal leadership coaching aligns with some of those strategic goals, specifically strategic goal 1, 2, and 5. Goal 1 says that we will improve staff relations and strengthen instructional capacity by providing structured professional learning, clear communication, opportunities for collaboration, mentorship, and career growth. So the principal leadership coaching does do two of those things. They do support career growth, and it is providing a structured professional learning, in which we will go into detail in a short manner. Goal number 2 is establishing structured supports to promote positive student behavior, emotional well-being, and school connectedness by providing access to school-based services, clear behavioral expectations, and regular staff training. The PLC does fall under this regular staff training, our administrators and educational leaders, specifically our principals, being part of SCEC staff. So just as we support and develop our teaching staff, our paraprofessionals, we often need to support and train our principals. Goal 5 is SCEC will implement district-wide systems of academic supports to ensure all students receive high-quality instruction, aligned to grade level standards with regular monitoring of progress using multiple forms of data. The very chief muscle that our principals will use is how they use data, such as when Ms. Gutierrez spoke earlier about how they're going to use Acadience data, or formerly DIBELS, to now monitor progress. Our PLCs, our principal leadership coaches, will help them build that muscle so that they're able to do that more effectively. Once again, I believe we did discuss that the principal leadership coaches are current principals with proven track records and/or retired principals. We do have a list of those principals who were invited to participate in the matching, as those are the ones that we will be recommending for their agreements to be approved. The scope of work will begin approximately July 28th and conclude December 31st, 2025. We have planned for 10 sessions. It is a hybrid format, with 4 sessions being in person and 6 sessions being virtual. For the principal leadership coaches, they are going to accompany the principals when they're here in person on focused learning walks, observing post-observation conferences, data meetings, etc., and they will provide a summary of the coaching session to the principal as well as to the superintendent. We will make sure that that summary is synopsized and shared with the board as well. For the principal, they are to complete pre-work. So sometimes the leadership coach will assign the principal some tasks to do prior to the session or in between sessions. Principals are responsible for doing that. They're also obligated to attending all the coaching sessions, which are scheduled between the PLC and the principal. And then obviously there are reflections, because part of them becoming more effective principals is developing their reflective practitioner lens. This is the tentative schedule for that PLC model, those 10 sessions. And obviously, because each of those principals will coordinate with their individual PLC, some of those dates are to be determined when. But we've designated the topics that allow for both the principals to say, hey, I need to work on this, and them to work with their coach, as well as topics we've identified. So you'll notice that in the focus column, there are specific principal competencies, such as 2.2.1, which is building relationships and creating a culture of urgency, that principal leadership coach will specifically work on addressing because it's tied to some principal growth objective. This program will be funded. The total cost of that proposal was $63,000. It will be allocated in Title II. And just for a high-level overview of Title II, specifically Title II is geared for preparing training, recruiting, and high quality for teachers, principals, and other school leaders. The goal of Title II funds, and when they're used, is to make sure that the ultimate goal is that it increases academic achievement, specifically by preparing, training, and recruiting high-quality teachers, principals, and other school leaders. They provide funds to increase student academic achievement by reducing class size, for example, or elevating teacher and principal quality. So we're proposing to use Title II funds to specifically address elevating principal quality, which will also lead to teacher retention and teacher and staff retention. And that concludes my presentation for principal leadership coaching. Questions from the board?
The Title II funds that I'm going to pay this out of, is it for this year, or is it going to be allocated for next year?
So this will be allocated for the 25-26 school year.
Okay.
The Title II funds ending this year have been already allocated for professional development conferences, et cetera. Other questions regarding principal leadership coaching? Okay. The next item, oh, I'm sorry, were there a question?
Yes.
And I know we have received a spreadsheet sometime in April with breaking down the financials. Are we going to get like an updated one so we can see what it's looking like for next year?
Yes, Ms. Simmons will have an updated financial report for Tuesday's board meeting,
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
which will include not just operations and education fund, but also titles and grants.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. If there are any other questions, we'll go to site services. So in the absence of Ms. Simmons, I will answer any question regarding site services. This is specifically a subcontractor for our that was covered in our bond and is for the tennis court paving. Once again, this is contractual services that is subcontracted through the bond for paving. It specifically does asphalt. It does not do the surfacing or the resurfacing. Questions regarding site services?
Is this for the tennis court only, or is it for the pickleball courts?
This is just for the entire tennis court, and obviously the pickleball courts are a part of the tennis court, so the paving project will cover the entire space.
Is there going to be a recommended surface for the pickleball courts?
Yes, and so this company does not do the surfacing, though. They are only addressing the asphalt. And there should be another subcontractor that you will see for the actual resurfacing. Other questions regarding site services?
There's, I believe in the proposal, there's, they said that it's not going to include fencing, and there were some other caveats to the,
Yes, for site services?
yes.
Yeah, so they will do a little bit of the shoring up of whatever fence that they have to, that is impacted when they take up the asphalt. They cover that, and then I believe they cover some other, whatever the concrete pouring, et cetera. But the only thing that they will not do will be the services, for which you'll be repainted for tennis and pickleball. If there are any other questions, we can go on to the Ivy Tech MOU. Ivy Tech it should actually be a contract renewal. It is just the memorandum of understanding we have with Ivy Tech, specifically to allow us to work with Ivy Tech to allow dual credit for our students who are enrolled in Ivy Tech courses. Questions regarding the Ivy Tech MOU? If there are any other questions, we will go to the disposal of SPED equipment and technology. Previously, the board did approve the disposal of equipment that was general. The grant funds, specifically IDEA grant, does allow for us to dispose of SPED tag equipment differently from our general equipment disposal. So you do have a list of items that are targeted for disposal that are specifically purchased with IDEA funds. Questions regarding that item? Oh, that's not it. We haven't gone over the personnel report. Now, we won't be able to do the claim docket tonight because Ms. Simmons is not here. Questions for the personnel report?
Okay. We will do the claim docket when Lena gets here. Oh, yes.
Madam President.
Yes,
President,
go ahead.
On the personnel report, some of these, let me make sure I have it right. Some of these don't have salaries,
Right, that's under the new hirees.
under
There are
the
no
new
salaries.
hirees, right? New hires, no salaries.
Yeah, right. So we need to know what are the salaries.
I see the training, did they get paid for training under this, am I correct, under this new teacher's orientation? But we don't have any salaries.
Okay, are you referring to the new hires that you want to
Yes,
see
ma'am.
salaries? Okay. We haven't been putting those on there, but we will add them for you.
They're in the hiring memos.
Yeah, they're in there, but some questions about this here. Go ahead, trustee Smith.
So you want us to start adding them to the report from now on?
Well, you have it explained here that, the teachers were required to attend a new teacher's orientation. So
Okay, that is the, wait a minute, let me see where you are.
I'm on,
Is that, which section are you in?
new hires. You have just about, you have everything except for you started.
Is that page 2 that you're looking at?
I'm gonna look at, I'm saying one, it's it, page 1.
Oh, you're looking at
To
the
page
hiring
3.
memos.
She looking at the memorandums.
Okay.
I'm sorry, memorandum.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not looking on the memorandum, I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I take a look at what you're looking at? I have the personnel report.
Yeah, you can look at it.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to make this difficult. Just this right here, just that.
So in the memorandums, we don't put that. It goes on the contract that the salary offer letter.
But we don't have, we don't ever have no contracts, though.
So you would like to review contracts?
We have been saying that we need contracts for everything before we do anything, because we don't know the terms, how long they're gonna be there. We don't have any of that information.
Okay.
So
They
I
are
think
the
that
same.
we've been saying this for the longest. And yeah, even though they can be the same, but we don't know that. We don't know that because, excuse me, because we don't have those in front of us. And then furthermore, we have been asking for contracts a good while back now, you know. Yeah, okay, but, yeah. But that's, I just,
We can ask Mr. Pena to address the process for generating administrative contracts or teacher contracts.
Contracts too.
yeah, all the contracts.
You have to go to the mic, Mr. Pena.
You better be glad I can go,
It's just usually Ms. Lopez in the payroll department, when she gets what the new salaries are going to be, she puts those into the system, and then the system works out the pay schedule. We have to tie that to a payroll schedule, so it determines what their breakdown's going to be. And then from there, we can print the contract, you know, if it's something that's coming mid-year. Or if it's in the case of the beginning of the school year, where we print all the contracts, and all those become available to the staff through the employee access portal, where they can review their contract and accept it, approve it there. For the board, it's possible for us to do a paper copy, print a copy for you so that you can see what it is that they're getting. And we can try and cut down on the number of pages instead of all 3 copies, maybe just one for you to review.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pena. So we'll be waiting on that then.
Which school are we talking about now?
Which what?
Are we talking about 25, 26 school
Do
year?
you want the
No, we're
upcoming
talking-
ones or the?
No, we already
current?
have we have the
24,
administrative.
25?
We have the administrative
Oh, we're
people's
talking about the
contracts. We're
administrative
talking about
contracts.
these people that are hired, that we have to prove. We don't have no contracts for these individuals.
So the
We just
new
only have a
hires-
memorandum. It's what we have.
So that's gonna be for 25, 26. So we have some people on here that are being hired for the new school
Oh, I
year.
see, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
And then I had a question here about this nurse, the amount that they're making here, it seems like it's the same as like they're a teacher. It's on a memorandum of Mrs. McJunkin. Oh, you need to see it, right? Okay, you don't have it.
So the nurses, they have, there's a salary schedule in the,
Oh.
there's a, I'm sorry, the mic. There's
Yeah.
a salary schedule that's just aligned just for the nurses only. That's, that I received a copy of when I first came here. So we go by that particular salary
So
schedule.
they got a scale for the nurses? We never saw it.
So it's based on, so we'll make sure you get that as well. It's based on their credentials. So you have LPNs, RNs, CNAs. So they all have specific salaries. And it's kind of, and I think because there's no like set salary schedule for Indiana, they're kind of commensurate based upon experience and credentials.
And this particular nurse would be just only at one school, why?
Mhm.
I need to be a nurse.
So we'll make sure you all get that, copy of the salary schedule.
Okay, anybody else got anything on these memorandums? I got another question, but I don't know if anybody got any memorandum questions, so you don't have to keep coming up here, about the memorandums.
Mine is on the personnel report.
Okay.
Items 37 through 45, not a big dollar amount, but why are they all different?
37,
Have 37 through 45.
Different ECAs pay different things based upon the CBA. That's how the teachers negotiated their contract.
This is not an ECA.
Oh, extra duties, I'm sorry.
This is actually for work.
Special ed
completed towards the
parapros.
certification of becoming a registered behavioral technician.
oh, you in here.
I'm in the personnel report, extra duties.
Yeah,
Extra duties, okay. Are different, slightly different by $1, $2, $3, $4. And that's something that I would have to ask, but I have a feeling, because this is a spreadsheet, that when it was input, spreadsheets tend to add down the column. And I think that's what happened here. They should probably all be 450.
Yes. We'll make sure that the memo matches the amount. They should all be 450.
Mhm.
7, 8.
So on the final copy, we will make sure it's corrected.
Okay, I got a question. You through with, trustee?
Thank you
Gomez?
for that,
I'm
trustee.
done, thank you.
Okay, on the page, 11, what funds is this individual getting paid out of?
You said page 11?
Well, number 11, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Number 11 on the personnel report.
Title,
Which title?
Title 1.
So, okay. Now, number 10, is the person here, is this their new rehired date? 7/10, they got rehired on this date. I mean, 7/1.
the teachers don't return until August 6th.
Right, so
This
that's
is-
what it should say.
This particular gentleman, this was probably put in here because this was the gentleman that wanted to resign because they were going to relocate and then decided to rescind the resignation. In order for us to keep the benefits and everything going for this particular person, we needed it to end at the fiscal year. And begin at the beginning of the new fiscal year, so that there will be no gap in benefits.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the Attorney Harris said that this individual would have to reapply. Once you retire, resign, that's it. You have to start all over. I think he discussed that at the meeting that we had.
Yeah.
So how would it appear, as a new hire or rehire?
He said a new hire Attorney Harris did.
So then what defines a rehire?
I don't know, but he said that once you resign or retire, you know, the language is still the same, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
That's what he said. Then they had to go through the process again, being
Right.
rehired all over again.
The job has to be posted.
Right.
Right.
it had to be posted.
Back, I guess it's a question like, what's a rehire versus what's a new hire then, right?
We had to
Tip-
ask the attorney.
I'm trying.
We had to ask Mr. Harris.
What defines a rehire, or what differentiates a rehire from a new hire?
I would say that it's probably a matter of policy, which I'm trying to look at now.
Okay.
Typically, a rehire would be determined by a policy that says that if you, for example, resign on good terms and give proper notice, or if you retire or whatever, and then your gap in service is less than a certain number of days, you're considered a rehire. And most of the time when you're rehired, that comes with bridging your level of seniority and years of service and all that, so it's like there's no gap. A new hire would be more along the lines of starting, I guess you would lose all your seniority and all that. I think
Right.
that's really more what it involves. So, you know, things that could affect that would be the amount of time you're out in between, whether you're coming back to a different position than you were in before. I mean, whether you had to reapply, I guess, to some extent, but I think it's more usually to do with the length of time that you were out. I'm looking to see if they've got anything specific. If I find something, I'll chime in.
This particular person requested to rescind their resignation right when we had completed the personnel report and it had been posted. And so he did not want to resign because the plans changed to move. And so we had it on here as a reinstatement, but we were asked to take it off of a reinstatement, and so we had to wait till the next board meeting. So now there's a gap in time. But actually, if he had submitted it and changed his mind before we printed this, we could have changed it and wouldn't even been on there. But so now, I guess this individual is being asked to reapply for a position that they've already spent some time in, and we're gonna leave with good terms, just because of the time span of a couple days.
Is this a professional staff on a contract, or what kind of employee is this?
It's a teacher.
The teacher, okay. So I think that if you have a contract for employment, there may be some policy here. Again, I'd have to, I'm shooting from the hip a little bit here, but there is a policy that says following submission of a resignation of the superintendent, you cannot withdraw or otherwise rescind that resignation. Basically only the board can do that. So the board has to kind of accept the resignation, and then if they choose to allow them to rescind it, they have to vote for that. It's not a decision necessarily of the employee at that point.
You said only the board could accept a resignation?
The statement, the policy that I'm looking at says a resignation once submitted may not be rescinded unless the board agrees. Now, that's in the 3000 series under professional staff, whether that covers teachers or if there's another policy specific to teachers, I'm not sure, but
That's different.
that's typically your policy for administrators and professional staff. There's a list somewhere. I'm fat-fingered it, but there's a list somewhere.
I know.
Assistants, so professional staff, assistant superintendent, principal, assistant principal, vice principal, classroom teachers, and special education employees. So I think if it's a teacher, then that policy that I read is the one that would apply, which would say that resignation can be rescinded only with the board's approval.
So instead of executing that policy, what we did was ask them to reapply, which is different than what he just said.
Sorry, what did she say?
And the other thing that could affect this too, if it's a teacher, the other thing that could affect this is the CBA. So that I don't have in front of me. That I'd have to give, look over the CBA and potentially talk to Attorney McCain and give you a better opinion on that.
Right, I agree, you should reapply, but that's not the policy he just read. So it was two different directives.
So we don't have that.
Well, we'll discuss that.
Well, I mean, currently we're in pre-board, so it's good that it's coming up now because we've got a little time to straighten it out. It's just something that Attorney Harris and Attorney McCain and I probably will all have to talk about a little bit. And
So we'll discuss that.
Had to rehire and lose their seniority and everything else.
That's what I'm saying. Yep. Okay, Mrs. McJunkin, I think there's anything else from the board? Okay.
I just had one more question. That was number 10,
On
I'm sorry, number
personnel?
11.
Personnel report?
Yeah. This is an involuntary transfer from which school? Oh, from Lake Washington to Central?
Yes.
What number are we on?
Number 11. I missed the from location.
Number 11, this is.
Number 11, there's no page number.
No.
It's
no,
number 11, it's on page 4 of the personnel report.
Yeah.
Yes, from Washington to Central.
And then what happens with Washington's vacancy?
Ms. Alvarez will be seeking someone to fill that vacancy.
What page you on?
4.
What's it on page 4?
It's,
Mm-hmm.
she was from Washington to Central High School.
Trying to see which page it's on.
What's the question again? Trustee Gomez, doesn't mind repeating it?
Yeah.
So it's still a vacancy at Washington. I don't think it's been filled yet. It created a vacancy when she was transferred.
They created a vacancy?
Yes, when she was transferred, it created a vacancy at Washington.
Well, I'm going to suggest is that we're going to talk about teacher, okay, and then this here, this one here. Okay, we'll have to remove, we're gonna remove this.
I would agree.
uh,
I would agree.
And then we'll remove.
Actually, if I may, I will provide the board additional context regarding this particular employee, so she doesn't have to be removed.
Say you do what now?
I will provide the board additional context behind this transfer.
Oh, that's fine, okay. So then we'll remove, the other person.
Wallace.
I don't wanna
Okay.
mention their name. And then we're also gonna remove from the agenda, we're gonna remove the Mozzie, and we're gonna have that scheduled, we're gonna have that scheduled.
Demazi.
Yeah, we're gonna remove.
That's
it.
not on the personnel report. You talking about
Oh,
something
no,
different?
no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's on-
okay.
On the agenda, I'm sorry. We're gonna
Okay.
move the agenda 3.0. We're gonna have that scheduled. We're gonna give you the date. Well, no, we're gonna give you the date now. Okay.
So I believe the board requested Mozzie to present, and we had reached out to,
But
you
we
did.
found out from the attorney that his contract would not be, so we found that out, so that's why
So
come now.
we'll remove him.
asking, right, and we're asking for them to come in.
He was planning on coming in on the 24th.
Yeah, we're gonna, well, we don't want them to come in here. We're
Will
coming in
do.
on another kind of session. So we're gonna ask them to come in. Let me get my calendar, please.
So just for clarification on number 10, are we removing it because we want it to be classified as a new hire?
No, we're gonna further discuss
Oh,
that with our
okay.
attorney.
Gotcha.
He's told us already what needs to happen, with that individual. And so we're gonna have a date that we're gonna have for the 23rd of June for, the Mozzie to come in. 23rd. So is there anything else that we need to rectify here before we, adjourn?
I'm sorry, Madam President, what, the 23rd, is that the day of the actual
Yeah, the day
meeting?
we're asking for the Mozzie.
Or is that going to be in a,
To come in, you know,
Okay.
come in on that day.
but is, because we have a regular school board meeting on 24th, so we want one the day, gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else with the personnel report?
Anybody else got any questions for the personnel report? Pardon? 23rd, yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Trustee Taylor was inquiring about number 10 on the personnel reporting. I don't think she got clarification.
It's removed
Oh,
because
number 10, is that
the
individual?
attorneys are gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
I told about the attorney, yes.
Thank you.
That was good.
Yeah, okay.
Paying attention.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation? Is that what it is?
Yes. So
Okay. Huh? Oh, Reg, you tell him.
I have one more.
Yes. Yes.
So currently, as the board has the draft of the agenda, including item 6.01 through 6.
6.01, you said?
Mhm.
Let me see. Whew.
Through 6.16.
16, okay.
Are there any additional items that the board has questions about, or will we consider this agenda approved?
So those are the ones Ms. Rita Daniels presented on already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
6 points from 1 on down to 6.6, you said?
6.16.
16. Mm-hmm.
Said 16 or 06?
Right here,
6.
Well, where is that?
You don't have it?
under new business.
Oh.
Oh, you said, do we have any questions about this? We're not taking a vote.
No, it's not a vote.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying, this
Yeah.
is approved agenda, we're going to publish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Just want to make sure that that's what we're doing.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, everything's fine.
thank you. And earlier this evening, we did hear all of the renewal contracts for Parent Cafe, Girls in Around Top 20, special ed contracts. Does the board want to add those to this agenda?
What are we adding?
I tell you what,
Hold it.
Oh, okay.
those contracts that
The
everybody,
contract, the salary thing and all that, the contract. Because there was a memorandum, right?
all these things that was on here, trustee Smith. All these people that was here, got up, wants to know that we want to keep these here contracts, what have you not. So.
We went through them all.
We went through it.
ESS people.
No.
No. I'm not that far.
Okay.
Do you want a contract?
Did the board want to add any of those contract renewals to the June 24th agenda?
Matter of fact, they're on here
We
twice.
already, that's what I'm gonna get up and speak about. but
They're on here twice. ESS people, they're on here twice.
Yeah, they're on our agenda and then they're on here.
Twice. Right. But they're here twice. 26 and
Oh, yeah,
32.
temporary staffing, oh, okay. That's by Mrs. McJunkin.
I was waiting for the board to respond.
Yeah, no, anybody got any questions from the board? Do you want to add these to the contract? Are we satisfied with the presentation that we had from the individuals that gave these, satisfactory?
I am.
Yeah. Well, we only like a year contract.
Then we will add those documents, those MOUs and supporting documentation to the June 24th meeting. And then the last one that we did not go over was 6.15 is the approval of the second reading for policies for consent agenda, job-related expenses, et cetera. I'll defer to the policy committee, though, for that one.
That's the first reading for these, just set
Second.
about. I'm not going over all of that.
Got to do it in 2 readings.
For the 24th. No, but you just didn't, just, policies in this one.
The work sessions and the work session.
Last meeting.
I done got everything arranged. There we go. I'm done.
So if we have questions about this, okay.
Yeah, we ain't in stone tonight, you know, Dr. Bonet just asking us, do we want to add it to the agenda?
It's already on the agenda.
No, it's already on the agenda. Was there any
It's on the
discussion
agenda,
regarding
yeah.
Discussion,
policy?
but any discussion behind it is what he's saying here.
No, I think we asked the questions.
Yeah, now, you
Nick,
say it's on the agenda already?
so for,
That's your
oh, I'm
agenda.
sorry.
Six-
We have on work session, maybe.
On
So
5.
for the job-related expenses one, 3440 and then 440. I read it. Do we have any language in there to speak to in the event the individual fails to attend the conference after has been paid? Are there any, after has been paid and we've passed the deadline to cancel, are there any penalties that could,
I don't remember putting anything in there like that.
okay.
No, I don't have it right in front of me. I can pull up the drafted
Okay.
board docs, but I don't remember anything like that. And I think sometimes you have to be careful about collecting things back from employees. Your penalty would probably be more along the lines of limiting their ability to do things in the future, having more oversight over that, but I don't remember drafting.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that in there, so I just,
If you want something like that, I mean, we can, it's something that can be researched. I think you just have to be careful about.
what do you guys think?
Yeah, what'd you say? I'm sorry, Taylor, what'd you say?
So I asked them and related to job-related expenses policy, 4440 and then 3440.
Policies here.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. All right.
Some language related to, or to the effect of, if once the conference has been paid, and we are past the deadline to cancel, where we don't get penalized, what happens, are there any penalties expected to be paid at the expense of the individual who canceled late, or how could we kind of help, eliminate that? Because I know that's been a lot of dollars gone out the door because we're canceling after the deadline and we can't get our money back.
And that, Trustee Taylor, that's a very good point. Since the board is proposing a policy that it must be pre-approved 90 days in advance, which is different from our current practice, it does open the window for anything to happen between these 90 days. Yes, I approved it back in September. Something happened, I'm sick, I wasn't able to go. What now befalls the employee in terms of, or any of the employee, to say like, I have to pay this back in terms of airfare, obviously hotel, registration fees, et cetera.
There is not language in here about that. I looked
Okay.
at that. I mean, I think that your ability to collect things back, I know I'd looked into that because for a minute, I think it had to do with tuition reimbursement for people seeking, to further their education while they're employed. And I believe that your ability to collect things back out of a person's check is a little bit limited. But in that instance, you would have had to sign a whole agreement and everything. With this, you don't necessarily have to do that. You would probably want to make some distinction between,
I don't know, place some guardrails around that or
well,
something.
yeah, but I mean, like, it's a different situation if, for example, like you're saying, somebody just didn't go,
Mhm.
decided not to, versus what Dr. Bournet's saying, somebody was sick.
Mhm.
I mean, that it's, or had something happen to him or whatever, I got in a car crash. I mean, so I think you kind of have to distinguish between those kinds of things too. I think you get a lot of hair splitting over that. And maybe what it really boils down is it's more of a disciplinary thing as in terms of, using the corporation's money without the intent of ever really following through on it or something, and that might be as far as you can get with it. I don't know,
I would agree with that. I don't want to penalize somebody for missing a conference, then we're gonna, what's appropriate for missing a conference. I would, or seminar, I would instead say, we would review that the next time that same person applies, so we can take action. We don't penalize them now, but in the future, they may be penalized. Even that, Harry, if I'm sick, I'm sick. I'm not gonna travel, so.
No, I agree. I mean, while I was away, my mother was literally passing, so I understand that, things happen that are out of your control. I just want to be able to, how could we kind of eliminate that type of behavior where it's just careless, where, I'm just not going to go because, if they have no financial hit from it, they will just continue to do it. And I'm not saying it's the same individuals or not. I don't know, but I know I have heard that it has happened more frequent than none where some folks are just not showing up and it's too late to cancel and money's just paid out. Sometimes we get refund or credit, sometimes we don't. But how do we just kind of train that behavior to like, hey, just be a little bit more cognizant of. Hmm? Well, that's what I'm asking, is that something? Right. Yeah, that's what he was saying, but not for this policy right here.
Okay, behavior. Now, I'm gonna say this, I don't know what we're talking about policy, I'm gonna be here all night talking about policy, y'all get into policy meeting. But when you're talking, a couple of those policies, not only just pertain to administration, but it also, I have it written down, it pertains to the board. What goes on for administration, the board should be accountable.
There's actually both of them on here, yep, I think, right?
So that part, to me, if you know a conference is coming up, if you know sick leave, if you're sick, I get that. But if you know a conference is coming up in September, and they pay your registration, and you get your airfare, and you know that conference in September, you should be, and you don't have vacation time, or you're not gonna take off that time.
Right,
then
right.
Don't take our tax dollars.
That's my point.
That.
That's my point.
Because you can't be off. And don't you're responsible.
They register by faith.
Well, you have to reimburse it.
Yeah,
Because
that's what I'm
not
saying.
fair, because either you're gonna go or you're not. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then, I think this should go into a policy too. If you're running for election and you're getting ready to go to a conference and you're running for an election, a seat, and you go to a conference in October and you gotta go through an election in November. Really, that's a waste of our tax dollars also. I mean, we have to learn how to start cutting.
It's putting guardrails, absolutely. Yeah.
So ain't nobody gonna be going nowhere, we all gonna be walking.
We're allowing a administrator who's retiring to be at a conference right now. So I mean-
But we're not trying to straighten this out now.
You're right, they gonna.
I'm just
But we
saying,
voted on it, but I'm just saying, in the future, let's make sure we cover everything. We cover everything before we vote on everything. That's all I'm saying.
How many principals are they gonna be, coaching?
Principal leadership coach will be coaching 6.
6, okay. Oh, that was my question. Take your time, child. Take your time, take your time. So much going on.
There's something else I was gonna say about policies. Probably not. Okay, remember. Okay, well, when is the second reading, Jesse?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, we got time.
Okay.
We go over it.
I'll go
Okay.
over it.
Yeah, okay. Is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay, I got just one more thing that I want to say from up here at the podium, please. Whew. First, I want to apologize. I keep wanting to apologize for the long meetings that we do have. And as the board president, I want to talk to the board, superintendent of schools, and those ones that are left here with this long day that we've had. I know that when I do meet with the superintendent, I do come back and I confirm with my board the day what we discussed. And then I find that when we come into the boardroom, like we've come into here now, I'm asked, well, what is this? Well, I can't answer it because I don't know. And all that was there is something that is new. Now, I came in here on the 16th, which was Monday, if I'm not mistaken. I got my board docs then. And then I also got 3 agendas. Okay, I have one in the book. I have one here, and these 2 I got Monday. Now, all of the items that we just went through are on this, is on one agenda that I already have, okay? It's all of this is on here. And so some of my colleagues, board members, was asking me, well, what is, I said, hey, when I have meetings with the superintendent for some reason, and it's lack of communication, but it's not on my part. I want to explain that to you right now. Okay, it's not my part. And so like today, when I came in here, I saw that, then I got called out of my name, okay? And then I had to correct that. So I'm gonna use a tone, you know what I'm saying? It may not be a tone that may be nice or what have you not, but I just wanna let y'all know that I am best transparent that I can be as your board president, okay? And to those ones that are listening to us tonight, we get a lot of questions about our board meetings being so long, so drawn out, and then you lose it, because so much information is coming at us. Now, I'm not complaining, but what I'm complaining about is the lack of time that we have to review stuff when we don't have it. We get it when we're sitting there sometimes, and that's got to stop, because nothing is going to get dead. So I just want to say, when I did come in here, I know some of you all asked me, what is this? You know what I'm saying? I tried to explain it. I tried to explain it with the superintendent, you know what I'm saying? But then things didn't go out the way it's supposed to. But I know when I come in here on Wednesdays and meet with him, I do confirm with you all, am I correct? Of what we have went over, what we did, and what we agreed on. So I just want to say that as your board president and to expound on what has been happening and has got to stop. Now, we're going to have a meeting with the Mozzie people on the 23rd. And Dr. Burnett, you will be notified as to how things that the board would like to have for that meeting. Okay, and thank you, because I know everybody is tired. I know I am tired.
We do have to reach out to Mazzy Education LLC to make sure they're available on the 23rd, since we had originally coordinated them to be here on the 24th.
I guess we can adjourn the meeting.
And I have one other comment.
Pardon?
And I have one other comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
So if there's been an issue of communication or a communication gap, we do apologize sincerely. So when we do meet, and I will specifically talk about tonight's very long agenda, I did share with the board president that we wanted to renew as many contracts prior to the start of the July 1 fiscal year. And then when we received the number of contracts, me and my team decided to break them up. And so we decided to break them up. Parent Cafe, instructional will probably be just as long in July with the number of contracts and do a similar presentation. So there were probably 25-plus items on the agenda when we did meet. And at the request of trustee Gibbs King, our president, she said, could we take them off the agenda and discuss them as a board first? So the agenda went from 25 items to 16 or 15 items. And so there may have been some confusion between moving the items from the agenda and what the trustees approved, but that was at the request of the board president to remove the items until the board had requested them. And I believe the board did receive their packets much earlier for this board meeting, so they had the benefit of the weekend to review the very hefty number of documents we had to review. If there was some issue where you did not get your board packet before the weekend, we sincerely apologize and make sure that doesn't happen going forward. But with the addition of the presentations that are slide presentations, all documents were sent to the board prior to the board meeting, and I believe they had them a week before. Thank you.
Okay, so like it was explained, I pray that we do not have these issues, continue to keep having these issues. Okay,
I make a motion that the meeting is adjourned.
anybody want a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Trustee West?
Yes.
Trustee Smith? Yes. Trustee Taylor?
Yes.
Trustee, Madam President Gibson King?
Yes.
Meeting